Content warnings for this episode include fantasy violence, blood and bloodletting, body horror, gore, death and killing, apocalypse, trauma, complex and complicated relationships, romance and flirting, references to sexual entanglements, cults and cult-like behaviors, curses, compulsion, intrusive thoughts, eyes and staring, and death of loved ones.
Hello, everybody. It is so good to see all of your digital non-existent faces in the chat. Welcome to episode 7 of The Second Stranger, our main campaign, a D&D stream. Before I get too ahead of myself, hello, I'm Connie. My pronouns are they, he, and she. I am the GM and creative producer behind Transplanar RPG. You can find me on all the social media accounts, but most specifically, Twitter and TikTok at @ByConnieChong, and toss a coin to your Connie at @ByConnieChong on Ko-Fi. I'm going to pass along introductions up to Quinn.
Hey, hello, I'm Quinn. My pronouns are they, she. You can find me on Twitter at Quintastic_. All of my linky links are pinned there. It's February. It's February, right? Yes, it's February. I'm doing Flash Fiction February. Those posts go up every day. First week is free for non-patrons, and then after that, we'll see. Maybe toss a coin to your Quinn. It doesn't work as well. It's fine. Then I'm gonna pass it to Dare. Oh, I placed it Lally. Yeah. Dare.
Hi, I'm Dare. She, they pronouns. I'm playing gentle, they, them pronouns. It is February, so it means throw me extra money because I'm just so cute. And it's, the month I'm legally allowed to be the most problem. You can find me on most places at Dare to Dream RPG, DARE, the number 2, DREAM RPG. I'm going to throw it to, I forget name's Humna.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Humna and I use any and all pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer. You can find me on Twitter at @shahid_, where I talk about all of the different projects that I am a part of. And today I will be playing Jaran, who uses they, he pronouns. We have a session planned. Yep, we do. I'm going to pass it on to C.
Hi everyone, my name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I'm a dancer, digital artist, tabletop streamer. You can find me anywhere on the internet making very trans, very gay art at PieSharpArt. I am playing your misbeloved, to-be-betrayed boyfriend, Oga Hien, who uses they, them pronouns. Today, in the past, I know we celebrated my birthday on stream like a month ago, but today is actually my birthday again. So I'm going to be a problem again. And it was Quinn's birthday a few days ago, and it's Dare's birthday in a few days. So that's 3 problems in the same room. So here we are. Throw some Aquarius love in the chat for us, and I'll pass it back to Connie for the rest of our introduction.
Yes. Like I said earlier, this is episode 7 of The Second Stranger, our main D&D campaign of Transplanar RPG, which is an all-transgender, POC-led 100% homebrew Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition live-streamed actual play campaign set in Andake, an original non-colonial anti-orientalist world. The Second Stranger is proud to announce that this episode is sponsored by @Dimitri Opines, that is @TRYOPINES, and Explain Trade, a negotiation skills training consultancy believing in the power of D&D and Transplanar's potential to grow, tell great stories, and lift up our community. Isn't that sweet? We love you, Dimitri. And Explain Trade. Explain Trade trains negotiators for governments, big companies, NGOs, and offers e-learning courses for individuals looking to get a better deal from their boss. If that sounds like you, check them out at explaintrade.com. Level up that charisma score, as we in the community say, and take this away from me, C. Tell us about our podcast.
You know what? I need to get a better deal from my boss, which is you, Connie, so that you never say anything like that again. So I will be hitting up Dimitri later. Anyway, our podcast episodes release every Tuesday at the ass crack of dawn. You know it, you love it. We are deep in the carnival now, my darlings. So go find our favorite murder bard and leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, wherever you pod your casts. It really, really helps. And if you want early access to those episodes, you can join our Patreon. You can also join our Patreon to get other super cool things like bonus content, access to ARC booklets, which will be releasing very, very soon, monthly gaming nights, and cast Q&As. Connie, would you be so kind as to thank the actual people who are our patrons?
Exactly. Yes, I absolutely will. So a huge thank you to our Patreon paragons. These are patrons pledged to the highest tier on our Patreon. You're incredible. We love you so much. Abigail Reitel, Azura, Brooke Bright, Charles, Chiacres, Cora Eckert, Lex Slater, Marvelous, Mitzi, Moonflower T, Purple Mouse, and Target. We appreciate you so much, and I'm realizing now that I did not write a haiku in advance for our Paragon, so I'm going to do it off the dome. I've been doing this the past 3 times. I can do it again. I trust myself. 575. The conference starts. Adam is really evil. Who will turn to goo? Motherfucker, read them and weep. Dare, why don't you tell our viewers of other ways they can support the stream?
I'm impressed. The other thing that is impressive is donations. We have a donation code incentive for this stream. Donos are going towards super fun bonus scenes. If we hit our goal, we will unlock a very gay secret bonus scene. So use the donate command in chat to support our all trans POC-led cast and keep the chaotic queer content alive. As you can see, we're really leaning into the chaotic. A woo for all the dogs out there.
Woo!
Shutting it down. Quinn, please. Tell us what happened last time.
Sure thing, Connie. Why did I say it like that? Okay. I forgot how to stream. Cut all of this, cut the feed. Previously on The Second Stranger, Jaran thinks about it. He thinks about it a lot. Gentle is reunited with Butcher, who seems very pleased with their new life as the executioner of the Aurochs Guild. Oka makes a deal with Lady Saram. Their debt paid off, and Bud back with Gentle if they bring her, Adam's head, something trivial like that. Lady Saram reveals the worst, though. Old Mama Lightning is kidnapped by the Chrysalis. Whoops. The group reunites, but Sitlali is still missing? That's fine. I'm sure there's probably fine. Oka and Mercy have a fight. Gentle and Jaran make a promise. Oka uses their blood magic to find Sitlali, who's in the Nothing Plane. Well, the Mama Lightning. Like I said, it's fine. Everything's fine. The Chrysalis is using her as a hostage, but it's not a big deal though. But the conference approaches, and that's what you missed last time. And I'm gonna throw it to Hamna for the title.
Yeah, the title. So the title of our episodes come from poems that are written by marginalized creators of all stripes, and today's is a doozy. Today's episode title is Grief, Hunger, Venus, Lucifer from the poem Minotaur by Justin Philip Reed. And I'm about to read the whole poem, so strap in, because it's really good. Having been found guilty, seen assuming the shape most unnerving, hulking starward, jacketed in alley walls, claws, grill and grope, the twin glints that could be grief, hunger, Venus, Lucifer. Having been conceived, guilt itself, I was not the bull thing saddled with shadows of corners, misturns many, the crimson lyric from an ode its new throat hummed, twined around the fingers of a white boy king. I was perhaps the labyrinth, crook swaggered toward the scene and passing myself away from wound, meaning once there was no road, vignette of false exits. Or I was the blood. What cardinal pointed the would-be conqueror out to beach, then became his mind's unmooring, then the still black sail, and then the night inside it. Have bent a shore's knees, have been where day breaks like someone else's father's face.
Such a good fucking poem. Check out the Malevolent volume on coffeehousepress.org, I'm pretty sure. Justin Philip Reed. It's a fantastic collection of incredible poetry by a queer black poet, so check it out. And now moving on to the session itself, some content warnings for this episode, and our campaign may include fantasy violence, blood and bloodletting, body horror, gore, death and killing, apocalypse, trauma, complex and complicated relationships, romance, kissing, references to sexual entanglement, cults and cult-like behaviors, it's going to be a good big one, curses, compulsion, intrusive thoughts, and death of loved ones. So use !CW in chat for a full list of content warnings and !safety for a look at the cast's lines and veils. With that out of the way, let's begin. We open on a rabbit. A small white rabbit with big, glossy red eyes and a soft pink nose. It hops from flower patch to flower patch in a snowy white garden pursued by an orange tomcat. The rabbit screeches to a halt in front of an emerald green chrysalis floating above a bushel of blood-red hibiscus petals. The rabbit stares up at the chrysalis, and the chrysalis glows back down at the rabbit and begins to glow more and more bright green, brighter and brighter and brighter, until the rabbit lifts up onto its hind paws and floats up into the air, and poof! In a plume of bright green glal powder, the rabbit doubles in size immediately, and it hits the snow with a solid thump, turns around, and begins chasing the now terrified orange tomcat. And the cat jumps and yowls and flees into the bushes, and all the children clap. And we pull out of this soft, frost-rimmed garden to see that this whole story was a puppet show. And that a short, fluffy tabaxi steps forward, the bells attached to her half-cape jangling. She bows, holding the marionettes of a rabbit, a cat, and a chrysalis aloft. And her audience, mostly parents with their children standing behind a rope enclosure, continue to clap, delighted with the story. And now we see the Senate House surrounding this scene, bustling with the chrysalis conference. Thousands of eager attendees mill throughout courtyards of stone and glass, gardens bristling with ponds and flowers, balconies outfitted with ornate trellises of stone. Food vendors grill chunks of lamb, pepper, onion on portable stoves, the smell of jasmine and saffron brightening the winter air. Emerald vines curl around massive pillars of stone, accented with shimmering blue and yellow tiles and capped with domed chatris. And in the central courtyard of the Senate House, we see the Chamber of the Republic, a towering palace whose sandstone walls teem with decorative patterns. Bulbous towers adorn opulent roofs carved from pure gold, an echo of the Republic's royal past, back when the chamber was a palace for the Queen of Talmud. An unthinkably huge flight of stairs leads up to the main entrance of the chamber, an archway inlaid with sculptures of elephants, bulls, lions, snakes. An emerald lawn sprawls out from the chamber on all four sides, pockmarked by dozens and dozens of wooden booths. Chrysalis members pass out leaflets, preach upon elevated pulpits, and peddle their twisted mythologies. Attendees throng throughout the lawn, eagerly buying kebabs, listening to speeches, or watching the various chrysalis-sponsored performances taking place throughout the gardens. An elevated walkway made of marble and glass surrounds the chamber on each side, forming almost like a balcony level, allowing attendees a full bird's eye view of the event below. And at the top of the stairs, leading into the Chamber of the Republic, arranged in the middle of all this commotion, like the collapsing singularity at the center of a universe approaching heat death, is the main stage. A massive structure of wood and steel over 80 feet long, with metal beams erected on either end to support a huge green canvas flap, etched with the chrysalis's logo, like a concert stage. And this stage is currently empty, but the stairs are cordoned off at the base, and gruff-looking day watch officers guard the perimeter, over 24 easily. But we're not quite there yet, friends. There's something else we have to take care of first. Something that began one day earlier. Sitlali, we find you now, a day in the past, walking toward the Queen's Gambit gambling parlor after, let's say, having a little spat with Jaran. Mercy accompanies you, using her broad shoulders to keep the crush of nighttime vagabonds at bay in this overly bright, very seedy part of Siraksha that feels like a second day with all the glowing, almost like bioluminescent signs advertising various districts of this place. Mercy turns to you, Sitlali, leans in and sort of says, Sitlali, you sure you want to find Sybil now? Don't you want to wait till tomorrow, get a night to cool off?
I think this is probably the perfect time, darling. Besides, we want Bud back, and I'm fairly confident in my negotiating skills.
Powers of persuasion, got it. Okay,
Yes.
It's probably not a good idea for them to see me escort you in, so maybe I'll start heading back here, And she stops in like the middle of the street where people just like move around you, almost like you're in like a crowded like street of Hong Kong, right? Just like tons of people like all around you.
Mercy. It's gonna be fine. I'm gonna be fine. I've done I don't know why I'm nervous. I've done a million recon missions for you. This will be fine. If anything goes south, I will send you a message.
Yes. Yes, you will. And, you know, I've noticed that it's harder and harder to catch you off guard by surprise. Remember the other day when I tried to sneak up behind you and wake you up and you almost blighted me to death?
I did. Yeah, that is I'm sorry about that, but
it's okay. It's fine.
I just, ever since it's fine. It's fine. I'm fine.
No, it makes sense. I'm glad you've been training your already incredible powers of perception. Okay, well...
Yes, that's what that has been.
Listen, Sitlali, there's no reason for you to be nervous, okay? You're probably just feeling a little anxious because, you and Sybil have history. Whereas the other marks I've sent you after, you don't have feelings for them, so it's a little personal. That's okay.
Yeah. This'll be fine.
Yeah, and you'll just cast Sending if you need help, and you can reach me literally anywhere, so I'll come right.
Yes, and I should probably, and I think they take off their shield and give it to Mercy, and also their bag of holding, just like subtlety.
You
also,
look beautiful.
Thank you. And I think Sitlali also slips like a small vial into Mercy's hand and says, "Get that into Gentle's herbalism kit for me."
What is it?
Subtlety.
Okay. Yeah, I'll make sure not to forget about this. It'll be front of my mind no matter what happens.
I'm sure.
As she tucks it away into her pouch. All right. Well, you look great. You look beautiful. If they don't buy everything coming out of your mouth, they're dumb and stupid, and I hate them. I love you, Sitlali. Be careful, okay? And again, Sending at the first sniff of trouble, or if you just miss me, you can do that too.
I love you too, Mercy.
She leans down and kisses you, gives you a big squeeze, hug goodbye, and sort of waves you off, right, as you approach the Queen's Gambit. Mm-hmm. And as you maneuver your way through the throng, you sort of see these bright, huge lights pouring out of the windows out of the main archway. You see a couple of seedy looking dudes, leaned up against carved pillars, smoking hand-rolled cigarettes, eyeing people as they go in and out, right? You see someone in an off entrance getting thrown out into the street, right? Their belongings jangling onto the ground next to them. And the big guards are come back when you got money, and the person's drunk off their ass in the street. You walk past all of this up toward where the Queen's Gambit is. But Sitlali, I want you to make a perception roll for me.
Let's see, that's a 22.
Oh my god. You have really high wisdom, I keep forgetting. You see waiting for you, casually leaned up against a pillar. As soon as you walk into the Queen's Gambit, they're there. But they're sort of in such a way that they're right next to the entrance, so if you had a low perception, you wouldn't have noticed them and would have walked right past them. Sybil, leaning against a marble pillar, sort of flicking a gold coin up through the air, and then when they catch it, they twirl it between their fingers. This fire Genasi tiefling, again, right, with this dark blood-red skin that turns sort of black and charred at their forearms and hands, and their horns sort of go up and rake back, made of pure obsidian with cracks through them that sort of casually vent steam, right? And glow kind of like a magmatic red. And when they turn to look at you as you walk through, you see that their eyes are pure gold. No scleras, no irises, just pure, unwashed gold, right? And they got this light leather armor on, and a fanged smile curls around their lips as they see you, and they push off the pillar. Sitlali.
Sybil.
A little birdie told me that you were in town.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do owe you a drink.
That you do. And I figure you might have a few other things to discuss, given the party you're traveling with, no?
Or two. But the night is young, no?
The night is young. There's a drink here I got them to name after you that I call the Changing Star. Would you like to give it a try?
Absolutely.
They hold out a hand, or rather an arm, for you to hold on to.
I take it.
And you take it. and they take you deeper into the Queen's Gambit. And I think a crush of people fill in the gaps, right, that you leave behind. And I think we're gonna kind of fade to black on this scene. And when we fade back up, Sitlali, we are in a completely different place. This is not the Queen's Gambit anymore. We see the outside of a Haveli. Kind of a loft-style Haveli, almost like apartment style. This beautiful, like, huge building with tons of different lofts and apartments. Seems to be kind of like a ritzy part of town in the district of Thristi. As I think we see, like, the front door kind of, like, start to open, and we see you framed at the threshold, right? Because you had a night of interesting, I think, like, passion and conversations with Sybil, and we see you on the tail end of that night, Sitlali. Why don't you tell us what you look like after everything you've gone through with your ex?
Here's a mess. Here's a mess. Armor's a bit askew probably as well. I think actually she's probably like getting back into that shoulder armor. Just not a care in the world. Still like a little drunk, you know, like does not give a fuck about anything. And is just feeling very satisfied.
Yeah. I think like the stone door sort of open. You got this like kind of like cat that ate the canary grin on your face as you like start to go down the stairs, right? Like Sybil, like this is a nice ass like part of the district of Thristi. It's sort of like, oh yeah, this isn't like my apartment, my brownstone like up in Brooklyn or whatever. You know, like it's like kind of like ritzy. You like come down. And as you do, make me another perception check.
Natural 20, so 30.
What the fuck? This is the second time Sitlali perceives that they're a character in a game being piloted. Second time. Just kidding. Yeah, you see her instantly. As soon as you step like out of the threshold, your eyes catch on the tiefling, not Sybil, Grace. Sort of like standing like at the bottom of the stairs. She's sort of like looking around, like smiling at people who pass, wearing these like bright green chrysalis robes. And as you like come out, she waves. Joy, hello.
Hello, Grace.
Hi,
how are you doing
are
out
you?
so late? Oh, you know, out and about.
Oh, well, I actually wanted to find you and talk to you about something, if you don't mind. I know it is quite late / early, depending on your perception of time.
Uh-huh.
Do you have a minute?
Can I insight check her?
Yes. What exactly are you trying to find out about what she's up to?
I'm trying to see if she wants to get laid. Let's see. So that's a 21.
21. She does not want to get laid right now because she has recently gotten laid.
I see. Real, recognize, real.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You notice that like some of her hair is like also a little askew. Like her robe's a little off the shoulder.
So Lally, I think, gives her like an appraising look and it's just kind of like, okay, fair enough. Go ahead, I've got time.
Oh, wonderful. So, Joy, I actually spoke to the Imiko a couple hours earlier. I'm proud to be one of his right-hand people, and we had a long conversation during which I was able to bring up, well, you. Because you struck me, all of your questions. You had such a searing insight into the chrysalis, and we need people like you. We need people who have such an inquisitive approach to everything we do. Most people, they see the chrysalis, they just say, oh, well, I can get something out of them, right? I can get a stronger body, I can get my magic back, I can get my hope back, which is obviously what we're offering, but we also want people like you who question things, who are curious. Adam wants to meet with you.
When? I'm a little booked.
Now, if you have time. He's just around the corner.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what the hell? Sure, fine.
All right. Well then, follow me. And Grace sort of like gestures for you to finish coming down the stairs, and she leads you around the corner. And at this point, Sitlali, it is quite late. You stayed over for a long time at Sybil's. You went to various places, and I think it's maybe like 2 or 3 a.m. or something, maybe like 4 a.m. It's early morning here, right? So there's like, the streets are quite deserted. Grace turns the corner into the mouth of an alley with kind of like this part of Dabathati, the ceiling sort of craters in, so the alleyway does have a ceiling. right? And it's just like a pillar of shadow, like shunting your vision maybe halfway in. You smell sort of like trash, refuse. You hear little critters scrabbling around in there somewhere. It's quite a narrow opening, and Grace says, he's right in there.
I would be remiss if I did not insight check her.
About whether or not she's telling the truth that Adam's waiting in the dark alley?
Yes.
Make another insight check, yeah.
I have to. No. Have I been betrayed? That's a nat 1.
Oh,
Technically
sit
11. Technically it's still 11. This die has never rolled a nat 1 before in its life.
I feel like that calls for a celebration on my end as the GM. So, Sitlali, why are you overconfident right now? Right? Like, why are you looking at this like little woman? You're like, she's not a threat. Like, what's going through your mind?
Lily probably just got laid. You can't prove anything. And except for roll back the tape. Don't. Sitlali's like a 7th level caster by now. Sitlali's like hot shit. Sitlali has a direct line to the Raven Queen, uwu, casual. Sitlali has survived much worse than small women in dark alleyways. So, Sitlali can't be surprised. So, nothing about this is suspicious, I guess.
It is absolutely so suspicious, Sitlali. It's less that you don't notice how suspicious it is. It's more so that you're like, I can take care of it no matter how suspicious it is. Right? Like, I'm a fucking 7th level caster. This is fucking nothing, right? Like, you're not worried here, maybe. But it's super fucking suspicious. This is like, it's yeah. Okay. Grace gestures at the alleyway. Maybe you like look toward the darkness. And you hear a voice. Coming from the shadow, a man's voice, smooth as melted gold, sort of spilling out of the void that says, "Your joy, right?" And kind of stepping into like the barest suggestion of light, you see the tips of 2 polished leather shoes, and then you just sort of see like, you know, the front of like a emerald suit, and then a face just come into view as the imago of the chrysalis steps into your perception. You see a man with pale skin and this sort of like golden blonde hair sort of gelled up and like raked back in this like perfectly polished coif. And he looks at you, his jaw's chiseled, he's handsome again in kind of like a bland way, right? In like a way where you just like sort of reach into like a manufactured box full of perfect dolls and you pull one out and plump one down. That's Adam.
Pleasure to meet you, I suppose, Adam.
Grace told me about you. You're interested in the chrysalis, aren't you?
Interested is a bit of a strong word.
I'd be happy to talk to you more about who we are and what we do if you have a minute.
I suppose I have some time?
There's something in here I want to show you. And Adam, like, disappears into the shadows, and you can hear him, like, walking deeper into the alleyway. And then he pauses, and you can't see anything, but you get the sense that he's throwing this over his shoulder. Are you coming?
Sure. And I follow.
Grace stays at the entryway, just sort of, like, looking and waving you off, right? Like a sister, like, sending off their sibling, right, into whatever thing she's sending you off into. And as you step into the shadow, complete darkness sort of falls over you. You know, you can sort of see the light behind you, like a shaft, like, cut through reality. And then now you're just in shadow. So do you have, like, a torch or, like, any way to see in the dark here?
I gave all of my things except my boot knife to my girlfriend.
Okay, so you're just in darkness, and I don't think you can really see anything, right? It takes your eyes a minute to adjust because some of the leftover light from behind you, like, filters in and cuts through the shadow. You sort of see, like, a big dark form of maybe, like, a dumpster pressed up to the right, and the alleyway doesn't seem... You don't see the end of the alley yet, but you do see Adam maybe 10 feet in front of you, and he's stopped and turned around and is looking at you, just standing in the dark, staring at you and smiling at 4 a.m. And he goes, "You have had a lot of names in your day, haven't you, Joy? Mirage, Temerity Bright, Joy, Sitlali Thornheart." That's right. Sitlali Thornheart, 28 years old. Left the court, 6, 7 years ago? Stole away in the dead of night. couldn't really bring yourself to be that much of an embarrassment, that much of a disgrace.
Have you found yourself a paragon yet, Adam?
Adam sort of lowers his head and like regards you with those like sparkling, ice-cold blue eyes. What are you getting at here, Sitlali?
What do you actually want from me?
What I actually want from you is quite simple, really. And Adam sort of like turns and looks at the wall. Just this grimy alley wall. Nothing remarkable about it. Just stone, right? And soot. And he sort of like almost gently, almost like intimately, like caresses a hand over it. And make an Arcana check.
27.
You feel the weave ripple. He's casting some sort of spell, or he's activating some sort of hidden trigger or something. It doesn't feel malicious. Well, okay. I'm gonna walk that back. It doesn't feel like it's gonna explode or attack you. Okay? But he's definitely like, there's something going on here with him on the wall, right? And you just feel like a bare shimmer of a mishmash of conjuration and abjuration magic that he's sort of like beginning to weave over the stone here. What I want from you, Sitlali, is quite simple. You see, I know all about the skeletons in your closet. The people you've abandoned. The lovers you've left for dead.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I recognize one of my own ilk. They seem to be drawn to me like flies to honey. You're a liar. You're a fake. And he finishes whatever he was doing to the wall and lowers his hand. And the wall doesn't seem to have physically changed at all. If anything, there's just like a slight shimmer along the wall directly to your right that seems to like vibrate all the way down, like through the brick. He lowers his hand, looks at you. He actually takes a step forward, like toward you in the dark. You're nothing. Nothing but a shadow.
I think Sitlali closes the distance between them.
Before you do or say anything else, you rise to meet Adam's challenge, right? And you close, and I think that at this point you're like chest to chest. Like he's like looking down at you, right? You smell some sort of like spiced, like deeply scented cologne, like coming off of him, and he cocks his head to the side and regards you, and he raises the same hand he used to touch the wall, like up to your cheek, and like kind of like cups it, if you'll allow him. Looks down at you and almost gently says, "You're a moon." Do you know what a moon is, Sitlali? It's a planetary body, suspended somewhere out there in the great abyss of space that doesn't produce its own light. It simply reflects the light of the stars and the suns around it. That's what you are, a reflection of other people's light.
And I suppose you're hoping for me to be a great reflection of you.
He like sort of traces his thumb like down the side of your cheek and your jaw and like looks at you again. Is that what you want?
Just tell me who you want me to be.
Just you is perfect.
I don't hear that enough. And I think she goes in for a kiss.
What is your impulse? Do you have an ulterior motive? What is your plan behind the kiss?
She wants to disarm him and figure out what she wants to get the fuck out.
Okay. You lean in for a kiss, and he meets you. He kisses you. And when your lips touch, for like a half second, it's just like a kiss, right? A regular kiss. His lips cold as ice on your own. And then you feel, Sitlali, you feel something sharp dig into the side of your mouth. And then something sharp dig into the top of your lip, and you realize what's happening is that he's opening his mouth and biting you. Like on the lips and jaw, right? Like sort of just like at you. And when that happens, I'm gonna have him make a check. Hold on. What's your spellcasting DC?
18.
That's pretty high. Good job, Sitlali. I'm proud of you. He latches his mouth on you, and you, Sitlali, what do you lose? What does Adam take from you?
Their subtlety.
What does it look like as your changeling magic is drained from your body and sucked into his?
I think it's more vibrant than when she casts, but I think they have very similar like color palettes, but more on like the lighter colors. I don't think much changes physically, but I think there is like a like the weave tightens and shimmers with like all of these different pastels. Not so much the purples that like you see when she casts, like the purples and pinks, but everything else just kind of...
Okay. You feel a part of yourself sort of get dragged up from the depths of your soul, and like that's the magic that suffused your blood since the day you were born, Sitlali, woven in the neural network between your nerves, stitched into every cell of your body, gets sort of like peeled away from that essence of what makes Sitlali and siphoned up like through the veins of your neck. We see this like glittering iridescence just like shining up like toward that point of contact and into Adam, right? And he eats it. He eats your magic. It goes into his throat and disappears into his body. And he breaks away from you and shoves you toward the wall, which has turned into nothing. The wall behind you. And you fall backward into the nothing plane. And like as you like tumble, I think with like these like bite marks on your mouth bleeding a little, like almost like a hollowed out shell of who you are, like pale and like stricken, right? Like falling. Adam's just sort of stood there, right? Almost like he's at the top of the stairs and you're tumbling down them, and he just has taken out a handkerchief and is daubing at his mouth. Looks down at you, and the last thing he says before the darkness seals up is, "You taste insignificant." And then poof. Sitlali, you fly through nothing. Darkness. Less than darkness. Less than the mere absence of light. This is an active vacuum. Thrumming, heaving, crackling void. You're floating in the middle of literal nowhere. Not a speck of light to illuminate the shadow that consumes every bare inch around you. This is space between space, vacancy between thought, the nowhere before there was somewhere, the no time before there was some time. There is absolutely nothing in here. There never was, there isn't, and there never ever will be. Not even taste or smell or sound. What do you do?
I think Sitlali tries to scream.
You open your mouth and you try to scream and nothing comes out.
Yeah, that's what I figured. And then I think between like getting to Dr. Aluso's and now, I think they had taken the feather from the Raven Queen that is their focus, and sewn it into their dress because it's subtler and safer. So I think they try to cast light.
You you hold on to that, you grasp for that feather, right? Like feeling without sight, without sound, without recognition through the darkness onto your own body. Thank God you still have a body as you're patting yourself down and you feel your arms and your limbs and you grab onto that feather and you focus. And you try to pull on the weave, but it's like fingers grasping through air. There's no weave here, Sitlali, to pull on. This space exists outside of magic, outside of time and space. And as soon as this realization crosses your mind, almost as though in response to a thought forming in a place where no thoughts should form, the eyes open. Dozens, hundreds, thousands of eyes fly open all around you, white scleras, crimson irises, swiveling pupils of malformed, ever-changing shapes, circles, crescents, squares, stars, dots, slits, vectors, sparks, all swiveling and then finally fixated intensely upon you. Eyes above you, Eyes below you, eyes to your left, to your right, around, everywhere, watching you. What do you do?
I think in this moment, Sitlali is kind of like a prey animal. Because there's nothing they can do. And they have that slow, creeping, dreadful realization climb up their spine that they cannot talk their way out of this. They cannot seduce their way out of this. They cannot magic their way out of this. This is just what we're doing now.
Would fear be the right word here?
I think it's past fear. It's the fear past fear. It's so primal. It's
despair, isn't it?
Yeah.
As despair washes over you, as you just feel insignificant and powerless under the ever-watching gaze of the nothing plane in here, there is finally, amidst all this absence of sound, a noise. Though it is not exactly encouraging. This noise sounds like a steel coil heating up, kind of like a vum, 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 vum. And then the eyes around you begin to glow, not with heat or cold, or even the tight netting of the weave, because there is no weave here. It's emptiness, with empty heat, empty sensation. This empty crimson glow suffuses the irises of every single eye in this vast nothing space, and you feel the edges of your body in response begin to end, not disintegrate, not crumble into dust or burn or blast or roast or freeze or shed, just end, cease to exist.
I would like to try a divine intervention.
Okay. Sitlali, what does it look like as you pray to your god, as you pick a god and pray?
I think Sitlali rips their dress and rips the feather out of it. It wasn't very well sewn. That's not like their thing. And in a fucking silent scream, just like calls for the Raven Queen, who has been there every single time.
You call for the Raven Queen silently. You feel your throat vibrating with like force. You feel your lungs filling with empty air, the last of it that remains here, and you almost think you can feel the air pulsing with the force of your shout, but you hear nothing at all. Just this empty doldrum of vast void pressing against your eardrums as you scream, and the eyes glow brighter, and you feel yourself edging away into nothingness, and then a god responds. Webbing out of nowhere, like frost forming on the pane of a window, rough chunks of black glass rise up around you, shielding you from the eyes and their empty void vibrations. The glass nets shut above your head, domes closed underneath your feet, around your arms and body, and as soon as it completely closes around you, that horrible sensation biting at the edges of your body, burning your existence away, fades, stops instantly, just like that. And you hear a voice within this glass orb of protection say, "Well, I wasn't expecting company."
And I think Sitlali screams just to see if they can.
You do. You scream, and now your voice comes out. It sounds hoarse, because while you were screaming earlier, you were like shredding your like voice open, right? It like just cuts through the inside of this like dome that you're in, and you hear the voice go, please don't do that. It's quite loud. Yes, you've got a healthy set of pipes, young person."
And I think Sitlali just kind of slumps down and does not even look up to like acknowledge who is speaking. Like,
Yeah, you slump to your knees onto this like smooth black glass, right? The inside is completely smooth, but you sort of like see through like the vibrations of the glass. Like the outside is like rough, almost like a spiky shell. And you hear the voice again. Sounds like quite close to you, maybe like 8 or 10 feet away. It's not a very big sphere. The voice goes, "Would you like some tea?"
Gentle?
Gentle? Is that a kind of tea?
You're not gentle. Okay.
Not a lot of people tend to describe me as gentle. No.
And you're not the Raven Queen?
The Raven Queen?
So I'm probably not dead. Probably.
No, darling, you're not dead. Not yet.
And I think they look over at that.
You raise your head, and you see an old human woman on the other end of this orb. She's sort of sitting down cross-legged, and she has like a teacup out that has like tea in it, and you smell it now. You smell like maybe like a light green tea, maybe even like against your will. You've learned about the different kinds of tea because of Gentle, and like you've gotten used to their smells. And this is like a very fresh, fragrant, light green tea that she's got. You don't see a kettle anywhere though. She's just got a saucer and a teacup. Old lady. Gray, white hair threaded back into a very practical bun. This like padded cloth leather armor on. But she doesn't look like an adventurer. She doesn't have any visible weapons on her at all. She just looks like a regular old woman, right? With these like leg and arm wraps, and looks up at you. And you recognize her based on Oka's description.
You're her.
And she fixes her gaze on you. And you see that in her like regular like brown eyes, there are two different colors shot through both of them. One of them is just dark black, the same color as like this black crystal that's formed around you, and the other is gold.
You're her. Right. They, we have Vinash.
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh, that's too bad. I was going to ask you to hand him over if you had him.
I would have, if I could have. I am not a paragon.
Looks like he's left his mark on you. And she like tilts her head to the side and gesture like indicates the lightning scars on your body.
He has, yeah. The Paragon of Sin is holding on to him for now.
I see. I heard you. We heard you, felt you, calling for help. That's how we were able to find you here. You know, sense of time and space and place really distorts in the nothing plane. I'm sorry we're not the Raven Queen. Yes.
You're better than Oblivion, so I'll take it.
Well, I would hope so. Are you sure you don't want some tea? I have too much here for just myself. There's no lavatory, so...
Think Sitlali is sort of doing the, like, white woman doing math meme. But, like, traumatized, so it's slow math. And I think they slowly just kind of, pulled the dagger out of their boot, because they did manage to keep that. They need to find you. Oka's a blood hunter. Oka can, and I think they split their own palm and just, like, spill their own blood to try it. And they, like, with no real reason to it, like, right, they don't quite understand how Oka's magic works. They're just kind of like, bloodhound, ? I think because she doesn't know what else to do with it, I think that Sitlali starts trying to write out the sigil as she learned it as like a child for sending on the ground.
As you desperately like do this magic, Old Mama Lightning just continues sipping her tea completely nonplussed. Yeah, you know, I've tried using magic to contact my allies on the outside. None of it works, and I'm a half-formed paragon. You're welcome to try. I don't know, maybe you've got some trick up my sleeve that I don't, but honestly, what's your name? I don't want to have to pry it out of you. You seem nice, so I want to be gentle. Gentle, see?
Does my name really matter, honestly?
How else should I refer to you? Bite mouth? You've got that bite on your mouth.
They flinch at that.
Oh, not that one then. Lightning?
Just call me Nothing.
Okay then, Nothing. Well, you seem to know who I am. Old Mama Lightning, they call me. You know why? Because some people just need to be zapped with lightning. My real name is Dovrenye. They call me Captain Dovrenye. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. Probably because I have a feeling we're both gonna die at some point. You know, they've been trying to kill me the entire time I was here. The chrysalis, that is, the people who serve the stranger, big tall lady in my nightmares that keep popping up in my head. They failed. They're not very good at trying to kill me. This is Suraksha. Hello, Suraksha, say hi. As she pounds on the glass. And you hear like a ringing sing back, almost like as a voice. This is, Suraksha protection. I can't really, the literal god of protection's in me, so it's kind of hard to kill me. Too bad I don't have Vinash, though. I could zap this place to hell if I had him. And Thristy made this, and she holds up the teacup. I asked Thristy if she could make, I don't know, like a empty killing spear, but she said that was impossible. I said, "Pah, you're useless." As I'm here, they've sent all sorts of beasts knocking at the glass, big crocodile-looking things stitched together with a lion to try to eat me, but that failed. This thing's harder than diamond, don't you know? It's Suraksha. How are you gonna eat Suraksha? You can't. Plus, Suraksha tastes bad. I tried licking this glass just to see what that crocodile empty beast was getting all up in the business of, and, people think I'm a human. I'll tell you the truth behind the Aurochs. How about this? Because I really don't know if we're going to get out of this alive, and I don't want this secret to die with me. It's a pretty badass secret. So, the Aurochs is actually... And right then and there, Sitlali, you feel something rise up in your soul. Something that is not Old Mama Lightning, or Suraksha, or Thristy, or the Empty around you, but something that feels hot, and panicked, and frenetic, and bloodstained, and crimson. Oka. You feel Oka's presence suddenly gush up inside you like a tidal wave and like go up to your eyes, I think. And like maybe like your body just sort of like straightens as like you were like the blood in your palm that was spilled seems to like glow a little. You look up. And I think you don't see this, Sitlali, but we see that like some red lightning zaps a little bit, like off of your skin as your eyes for just a split second sort of shutter over with like blue scleras and double pupils for like a half second. As Oka, for a single second, looks through your eyes and stares at Old Mama Lightning, who's saying, "The Aurochs is... Vinash?" And then you blink and the eyes are gone and Oka's presence is gone. What was that?
I think Sitlali just kind of collapses over like the bloody sigil that they've been just drawing and redrawing. That means it worked. I told you. Blood magic, blood hunter, bloodhound, Oka. Oka's the paragon of sin. I probably forgot that part. They're coming for you. They're gonna come for you. And it's gonna be fine.
Oh, that is actually quite... Oh, well, thank goodness. I wasn't ready to die yet. I suppose my secret can stay with me, then.
I suppose so.
Thank you, Nothing. That was very helpful of you. I'm glad I rescued you.
Happy to be of service.
I think there's like a stretch of silence. It's like neither of you say something. You don't know how long the silence is. 30 seconds, 30 minutes, 30 hours. You have no idea. Time is weird here. Also, it's awkward. After that stretch of silence, Old Mama Lightning says, "So are they coming, or got an ETA on that?"
Well, they will.
Well, okay, but until they do, just stop looking so glum, Nothing. You're not Nothing. I refuse to keep calling you Nothing. Give me something. Even if it's not your real name, I don't care. People call me Old Mama Lightning. Some people think that's my real name. And I say, you're a dunce if you think that.
I suppose something works just as well.
Okay, then something. Let's pass the time here. What do you like to play? You like chess? You like mahjong? You like dice? You like role-playing games?
And Sitlali is just kind of like staring out for like past Suraksha, like at,
At the void.
Yeah. Just being like, I don't know how to have a human conversation right now.
Careful, darling. Something. Don't look out into the void too hard. If you do, it looks back. Literally.
I noticed that.
Look at me. Tell me about your favorite flavor of tea.
I'm not very good at tea. Gentle's good at tea.
Okay, is Gentle a person or a dog?
Yes.
Who is Gentle? What is this Gentle?
Gentle's one of my favorite people in Andake.
That's a funny name. Are they gentle?
Yes.
Oh, tell me about Gentle then. How about that? Tell me about your best friend, Gentle.
Best friend is a loaded term.
Why?
People are complicated and I don't do well with them. I pretend to very well.
Are you an actor? I'm a patron of the arts. I like actors.
Con artist is more accurate.
Con artiste! I see. What's your grift of choice?
Marked tarot deck.
Oh, that's a good one. You peddle fortunes to poor folk who just want a little bit of hope or a little bit of reassurance that they're on the right path. Is that so bad?
Sometimes I give them the real thing.
Why?
If they deserve it.
Oh. Are you a good judge of character?
Probably not.
When you look at me, something, what do you think of my character?
You're a paragon.
That's not my character. That's my destiny. Two very different things.
I thought I was a paragon once.
That's a fun story. Tell that one.
Tried to kill the real paragon.
Ooh! Is this Oka? Paragon
No.
of Sen? Then
Oka
who?
doesn't have Sen yet. The paragon of the Raven Queen.
Oh! I think I've seen her in my nightmares. Tell me, is the current paragon of the Raven Queen also a bird? A kenku?
No. She's a revenant, actually.
Well, that's fun.
Yes, quite strange for the Raven Queen to commit sacrilege against herself, but
There are conflicting texts about what the gods really stand for. You know, we, as in the people of Andake, worship the parts of the gods that are the most convenient for us to worship, you see. The parts of the Raven Queen that say to sanctify life, and that death is a natural part of life, but don't carry it out before it's people's time to die. Which is why, you know, no murder. That's a big thing across Andake. But, you know, there are also cults of the Raven Queen before the Cataclysm who venerated necromancy. And just look at Tulong. Necromancers all up the wazoo there. I'm actually from Tulong, technically. Well, I was born. Well, born is a loose word. I came into being in Tulong.
how is born a loose word, old Mama Lightning?
I've said too much. Now you tell me something about yourself, something.
I've told you some things about me already. Tell that story.
All right, okay. I guess it's been 100 years of me just carrying the secret of my tragic, yet very colorful backstory around. I suppose I'll share my song with you, something. You see, it all began when... Hold on. Don't move. Something's coming. Not you. Something else. And old Mama Lightning, like, freezes and raises a finger and, like, looks around, you know? And she closes her eyes and places both palms on either, like, smooth edge of Saraksha's dome. And her eyes fly back open. And you see that the gold and the black shards in her eyes are, like, glowing very bright. And when she talks again, it's with, like, a triple-layered voice. Her own and Saraksha's and Thristy's layered in. And she just goes, "They're here! Run!" And she shoves forward with her palms. And you hear like a cracking noise as old Mama Lightning cracks Saraksha open, but causes like a wall of black glass to sort of shutter like stalactites, teeth of some huge like animal, obsidian darts just forming almost like a thick wall between the two of you. Just in time, as you see a bright light beyond Saraksha like rip and tear open in the nothing, and you feel just beyond the thick like pane of glass of Saraksha the weave. You suddenly can feel magic again, just sort of like filtering through this light as you and old Mama Lightning are pulled out of the nothing plane and deposited back into the now, back in the present. Let's say 30 minutes in now time before this occurs. You're gonna cut to Gentle.
I think that I am probably trying to just not a perimeter check per se, but walking around a decent amount of just to get a vibe on different areas, see if there's any interesting different talking points. Mostly so I
Totally.
can just know what's going on.
I think you're with Mercy. The two of you are like pretending to be like attendees. You know, you're like threading your way through like the various booths. Like Mercy is, just, oh yes, this is interesting. I'm totally into all of this stuff that's going on here. Like kind of loud, as you're like striding like through the crowd. You see tons of booths everywhere, just manned by Chrysalis members, right? Covering all sorts of topics. You see a booth with like a big sign that says Anecdotes of Hope, where there's like various Chrysalis members sharing their stories of like being how the Chrysalis saved them. It's like a mini stage area where there's like a little groups of attendees on the lawn listening with their kids, right? And then you see like another booth that's like a people's history of the Chrysalis, just like talking about the history of, their founder, the Imago, the organizational structure. It looks kind of like a pyramid. You know what I mean? And like everywhere people are just passing out pamphlets. You also see like another booth that's like coping with loss for people who have lost people or things in the cataclysm and how the Chrysalis offers hope, like what to wish for, like a special booth to like be like, oh, once you join the Chrysalis, you get a wish fulfilled about your body. What do you want to wish for? Here's the smartest way to phrase your wish, like stuff like that. Like all these booths of just people like flocking to them. And Mercy goes, there, wait, hold on. As she gets in line in front of a meat skewer booth.
I mean, if this will help us blend in more, I think that's a good idea. Do we want to use like fake names like Sitlali tried earlier?
Ooh, I like that. How about, let's use like the names that are opposite to who we are. So, Mercy, I guess I'll be, what's the opposite of Mercy? Vengeance? I'll be Vengeance. And Gentle, you can be Brutal.
Brutal. I think that works. Yeah.
That's tough.
I think that works.
We sound like real tough guys. I like that.
Do you think are we gonna sound too tough?
Should we tone it down a bit? Is it too on the nose?
Maybe
I
not.
like Brutal for you, but maybe not Vengeance. How about Glory?
Glory is good. I like Glory.
For me. Yeah, that's a good one, right?
Glory and Brutal.
You need a cover story for why we're traveling together, why we're interested in the Chrysalis. Ooh, what if we're like siblings?
I mean, we could just be looking to find our way.
Lost travelers. We had everything taken from us by the cataclysm. Our family, everything else. And now it's just us.
Yeah, I think that works. It's not accurate. So what are we doing after we get the meat skewers?
Well, hold on. We're at the front of the line. Hello. Mercy like talks to the vendor. We'll have have 2 meat skewers, fried potato dumpling. I'll have a crispy roll stuffed with cheese, eggs, and peppers. I have a paratha. Do you want some parathas? Let's have just a stack of parathas, some stir-fried rice, and how much is that? 3 silver, 3 gold. 3 gold? What kind of a con scheme are you running? And she's like digging through her like armor and leather for like money, and she pulls out the vial Sitlali gave her. Oh, fuck! Gentle, this is for you.
Should I look at this now?
Here's your 3 gold. She like scoops up all the food and like huddles out of the way. I totally forgot. Shit. I mean, the fucking hotel exploded, so it kind of slipped my mind. So Lolly wanted me to give this to you before they went to Sybil's.
Should I look at this now? Did they tell me when to look at it, or
maybe it'll help us find her? Open it. What is it?
Okay. Sure. I'll open it. I'll open this little vial. Okay. Should I just read it out? Oh, this is awful. So, Gentle, I'm going to get Bud back. I hate to see you worry. I hate to see you hurting. I'm going to talk to her. We need her and hers on our side, no matter her crimes. I know you want to fight her, but right now we might need her. Pretty words should do the trick. A little flattery can get you anywhere. It's going to be okay, Gentle. Trust your second, please. I'm going to roll insight to see if there's anything I can glean from that in terms of helping find Sitlali.
Ooh.
Let me see. 26.
Sitlali, have you by any chance infused this note with magic or anything like that?
No.
What are the vibes of this letter?
What are the vibes of this letter, Sitlali?
I think it's all there on the page.
So it should be taken at face value. It's genuine.
Yes.
It's a heartfelt, genuine letter that came from a true, deep place within, which is saying a lot for Sitlali. And Mercy stands there, you know, like with the skewers and all this food, like tucked. She just goes, "Well, what was that about? Can you find them through it? Is there magic in it? Where are they?"
I don't think it's magical. I mean, it's really like sweet and nice, but not magical. This is mostly about talking to Sybil, I think.
Brutal. I am freaking out here, okay? And like the skewer like quivers in Mercy's hand. I'm trying my best to put on a brave face, and just, you know, eating this food will help calm me down because I'll be energized. But I'm really worried about Sitlali, okay? I mean, the Nothing Plane ripped V, who's a fucking paragon, apart. Did you see those scars on her body?
I put a healing hand on Mercy's arm, mostly to give a very like calming sensation. I mean, like the letter said, trust your second. I have faith in Sitlali because Sitlali's really good at what they need to do. And I mean this in a nice way. They're very headstrong, and I don't think Sitlali wouldn't want to come back to see you or the rest of us. So I have faith in them, and I know we're gonna find her and we'll save her.
Thank you, Brutal. It's exactly what I needed to hear. I need to get this in my stomach. And she like starts like scarfing down the food. I go, wow. Say what you want about the Chrysalis, they make damn good flatbreads. She's like starts like shoving like eating it.
I think while Corey's doing that, I'm going to keep an ear out for anything that might be interesting to note.
Okay.
I think we have a decent cover going.
You do. I think like as you continue to wind your way through through this like market area with like all these booths and food stalls, all the clamoring voices, running children, like little like pet dogs and cats like yapping about, keeping your ears open for anything interesting. Maybe like one eye drawn to that main stage, like in the center of all of this. We're gonna like cut up right to like a bird's eye view, like pull out to where Mercy and Gentle are, and swivel around to find Jaran. Where do we find you? And what are you doing?
Jaran's goal for being here at the Chrysalis conference is to find Sitlali, specifically. I mean, we're gonna find Old Mama Lightling wherever we find Sitlali, but his goal specifically is to get Sitlali. So I think he's gonna go to the main stage and try and find like some way to get into the back doors or back chambers of the Chrysalis like conference, because presumably if Sitlali is part of the big miracles that are happening, like they're going to be brought to that stage. So they're probably being kept somewhere back there.
You've got like a chrysalis shawl on, right? And have you like split from the rest of the party? Or are you like trying to go at it alone?
I think Jaran would have just kind of like mentioned where he was going, but not asked anybody to go with him. So if anybody wants to follow him, that's fine, but he's not asking anybody to come with.
Yeah, Ravi's with you. Ravi has peeled off. I think Mercy and Gentle are together, and like Ravi has like volunteered to go with you. Like, is like, we should stick together, like safety in numbers. So she's with you as the two of you are sort of like slinking by, I think, like the barricade that's been erected at like the base of these massive stairs, right? See the empty stage, maybe like 80 feet beyond the stairs with its like huge like projection screens that are currently blank and empty. And the massive, like, instead of like a back like stage tile area, there's just like the awning, the opening into the Chamber of the Republic, whose dusky chambers sort of just hang in the void. You can't see beyond it, but you assume maybe there's like a backstage green room set up in the foyer, right? And Ravi seems to follow your gaze, hunkers like her hood down, like low over her rugged eyes, and sort of like nudges you and says, "Hey, I think there might be a back entrance up into that foyer area if we just skirt along the edge over here."
Okay. let's maybe try and not draw any attention to ourselves where we're going, but I think I can pick any blocks we might find on the way.
Yeah, let me just shout and scream that we're here to infiltrate the Senate House and that we hate the Chrysalis. Of course, I'm gonna be stealthy, Jaran.
Well, I don't know how much practice you have. You're a blood hunter like Oka, and they're not exactly the most subtle of people.
How much practice? This isn't my first rodeo, kid. I know how to act when pressure is high. Come on. And she's gonna look around. I think you're maybe like parallel to the stage, maybe off like stage left or something, so you can see like the huge like wooden iron structures beyond this little barricade. She looks to her left, looks to her right, and hops the barricade over and gestures for you to follow.
Jaran will follow. Also keeping an eye out as well for any like Chrysalis staff members or anything like that, to see if we're being watched or followed in any way.
Okay, but first I need you to make a stealth check.
Oh, okay. Okay. There's no way I can fail this.
Don't
Okay,
jinx it.
I know I just did. I got a 3 + 14, so 17.
You jinxed yourself.
Moments before disaster, Humna. What?
Oh my god. Okay, but still 17 out for Bravi. It's gonna be hilarious if she beats you. She rolled an 18. So that's what, like a 23? Yeah, so she's also like... She's folded herself, I think, against like the marble pillars that hold up the Chamber of the Republic. And she's like looking at you. How are you like... You're also stealthy, but not as stealthy as her. How are you sticking out a little?
Oh my god, just after I Loki and like questioned her ability to be stealthy, dear lord. So Jaran is going to... I think the way that I think right now, because of everything that has happened, like Jaran has woken up from this nightmare, like stabbed Oka a little bit, is extremely concerned about Sitlali. I think all of this is kind of making it so that he's a little bit distracted, right? And so he's not able to maybe like conceal himself as well as he normally would. So I think the way that Jaran sticks out a little bit is that they are kind of like over-exaggerating their movements a little bit. You know, like they're being like a little bit too slow in the way that they're moving and like trying a little too hard to look natural and like blending in.
Oh my god, you're like creeping. You're creeping next to Ravi. Ravi stares at you as her back is folded against a marble pillar and just says, "What the hell are you doing? You look like a praying mantis."
It's a bug, right? The Chrysalis, they like bugs.
Stop that. And she slaps you kind of hard, like on your like raised like wrist. Just act natural.
No.
Aren't you a rogue?
Hey.
And you're insulting
Yes, I
my
am.
ability to stealth. Come on. Don't let your nerves get the better of you, kid.
Okay.
Oh, you reek of naivete. And she's just gonna sort of like sidle like along the side of the Senate House, right? And lead you as you're sort of like hidden in the shadow of like the broad, opulent awnings that sort of fan out on either side. Leads you up like a smaller flight of stairs along the side of the Chamber of the Republic. So if you can imagine, if the Chamber of the Republic is kind of a rectangular building, like one of the bottom sides of the building is like where the huge flight of stairs are in the main entrance. So you're skirting along one of the longer horizontal sides, right? And there are like stairs that lead up those as well, but those are less heavily guarded, even though the entire thing is enclosed in a barricade, right? And there is a patrol of like day watch soldiers like whistling and like walking through the grass, right? So why don't you make a perception check for me to dodge the soldiers on your way into the chamber?
Ooh, nat 20! We're making up for my awful stealth roll.
You truly are. I think your ears sort of perk up as you hear like just like the trampling of grass underfoot, like leather boots, like coming around a corner like 50 feet behind you, right? Like you can hear a guard on patrol whistling a little bit, like this whistle cutting through the hubbub of like the crowd of the Chrysalis, just like moving between booths and whatnot, like drifting on the wind toward you, and Bravi doesn't seem to have noticed. What do you do?
I think Jaran panics and goes instinctively to one of the things that they know how to do, which is they're very good at mimicking other people's voices. So I think Jaran is going to, just without even like thinking about it, like in a panic, is going to shift into Adam's voice as best that he can and say, "Stop, turn around, and go the other way."
Okay.
like around the corner.
Roll performance.
I'm not good at performance. 15.
Okay, you throw your voice, I think, over your shoulder, and you do like a workable job. I'm just gonna have the soldier like roll awareness, I guess. He rolled a 2.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, you don't need whatever fancy feature you've got because this guy rolled a 2. Yeah, there's like a pause. You hear like the grass stop being trampled, and you hear a whistle go, "What? Inigo? Of course. Sorry. Where? Never mind." And you hear like the footsteps like recede like back around the corner again. And Ravi pauses. She's got like one step on like the stairs here, about to like go up into the chamber. She looks at you and goes, "Was that you?"
Yes, I'm good at imitating people's voices.
Whose voice was that?
Someone high up in the chrysalis. Come on, let's go. There won't be long until somebody else gets here.
Familiar. Okay, yeah, you're right. And Ravi like shakes her head a little bit and like goes up the stairs. I think like as you like push past her like on the stairs, you notice her like looking at you a little, like her brow is furrowed, you know, like her eyes are kind of glinting a little suspiciously, but like we're pressing on. And as like the two of you go up into this chamber, you see the foyer, which is like the area of the Chamber of the Public, like right after the main entrance, right after the main awning. There are various ways into this foyer. It's sort of like open, almost like the main entrance of like Grand Central Station or whatever. And there's like tons of different ways to get to it. You know what I mean? It's massive. And there is a huge statue in the center of the foyer that is almost as tall as like the roof of the chamber house itself of Yudabathi. You see a 3-headed god, right? An elf, an orc, and a dwarf head on this like broad shoulder, and like carrying like a lightning bolt and sort of in like a, I think, almost like a dance, but also like war stance, right? But this statue has been draped in like chrysalis sashes, right, are like dangling off of the crook of its elbow, like tied around the statue's like marble waist, right, and like powder has been splashed on top of the statue to make it kind of green and glittery. And in the base of the statue, I know, fucking sacrilege. In the base of the statue, you see like an impromptu green room has been set up, and like a huge slat of light from the outside falls, like a single pillar of radiant light beam like falls down from like the entryway onto the statue and onto the green room, and you see like just maybe a dozen like Daywatch soldiers like patrolling this area, like keeping like an eye out on the shadowy crevices where you and Ravi are lurking in. And you see Adam sat up at this green room, currently being attended by no fewer than like 5 servants who are sort of powdering his face, you know, like linting down like this like glittery green emerald jacket he's got on, like tightening like the emerald green tie around his neck, and he's sort of looking into a mirror and like looking from side to side as a servant applies makeup, I think, like to his face. And you see like under, and this is all at the base of the Yudabathi statue, and under the table you even see that like a servant is sort of like massaging his feet, you know, like pressing at his like feet, and like his shoes are off, and he just seems completely nonplussed and is like looking at himself. What do?
Ignoring whatever peacock show is going on there, Jaran is going to look around the room to see, is there any hint of Sitlali or Old Mama Lightning in this green room, or any indication of like, Jaran doesn't know how the weave works, but any indication of like a portal or an entrance to the Nothing Plane where we know that they're being kept?
With your natural 20, not at all. And as you're lurking in the shadow, like next to a huge pillar, Ravi actually pulls you like behind the pillar and says, hey, careful, there's tons of guards here. Listen, kid, the Nothing Plane, which is where your friend and the Paragon of Yudabathi are, is not a physical location as we know it. Very likely that asshole over there, their Imago, Adam, I think. I've only met the guy once or twice. He's probably got a way to contact the Nothing Plane or get to it. If there's a way into that area, it's probably on him.
If it's another plane though, don't magic users do that? Go travel between planes? Maybe you could break in somehow.
Are you out of your mind?
That's where Sitlali is being kept if we want to get her.
You think I have a way to just commune with the Nothing Plane and open up a portal? You think I wouldn't have done that already and we didn't have to just infiltrate their stupid conference?
What do you need? What do you need to get there?
It's not on me, it's on that prick. And listen, we can't just go up to him and ask, okay? These cult members are masters of manipulation. That's what they do. They lie to you, they sell you pretty stories of salvation or whatever the fuck ever, all to manipulate you.
Okay, fine. But if anything goes south, if it looks like we are losing our grip on what's happening here, it's worth a shot.
Shit. And she pulls you even more flush against the pillar, and you notice that all the servants begin to move away from Adam as he stands. Servants slip on his leather shoes, and he turns and begins to stride out onto the stage. Fuck. Okay, that's okay. We have a good view on him here, right behind him.
Looking on Adam's person, does it seem like he has anything unusual on him other than his very gaudy outfit?
With your nat 20 perception, no.
No?
He just looks like a dude with a suit on.
How is he gonna open up? Okay.
All right. And on that, I think Adam begins to stride off toward the stage, and we're gonna cut to someone else.
I think that Oka is still up on the balcony, and depending on how many people are up there and how many good hiding places there are, I think they've just kind of been shrugging on and off this invisibility, pulling it on and off like their own kind of cloak, hiding from everyone. And they have paced around the entire circumference of the Senate House now, probably several times, trying to find the best vantage point to the stage, this direct line where they can't be seen, but also can have a good line of sight. And I think as they're walking, they are listening, but not to necessarily the world around them. For the first time in a really, really long time, they have a soul that's put together. And they have a god residing in that soul. And they've seen V and Rev and their mother, father, and even Vaska talk about talking to the gods in their souls, but Oka's never been able to do that. But they've never really been able to try, I think, because their soul was shattered apart. But now that they have a complete soul, I think these are the thoughts that are percolating in their head as they keep playing over and over, seeing through Sitlali's eyes for that brief moment, seeing Old Mama Lightning, seeing Siraksha and Thristi. And I think there's this moment that Oka kind of finds this quiet spot by themselves up on this balcony that they're going to just kind of plunge down into their soul and stir up some of that old familiar rage.
And as that rage rises up to meet you, plumes of red dust just swirling frenetically in the desert, with little sparks of lightning coming off of it. You hear Vinash's voice, clear as thunder, as clear as you've ever heard it, ring through your body, mind, and soul, whisper in a growl.
Siraksha, Thristi, I can feel them. They're here, but they're not here.
And I think compared to it, Oka's voice is a lot smaller than they want it to be. Can we get to them?
They are in the nothing plane, the place that never was, never is, and never will be.
But we found them. We could pull them out.
And I think as Vinash considers this even, I think little sparks of lightning begin leaping off the surface of your skin.
Your soul has been sutured back together, vessel. This is the first time you've spoken to me of your own free will.
I didn't really know it was possible.
I didn't either. I always knew there was something wrong with you. Now I see. You're almost whole.
What do you mean, almost?
Well, Sen's not here, are they?
That doesn't make me whole.
The gods. Our love is what makes you whole. And your love for us is what makes us whole.
You remember them. You tried to eat them in the Silent Grove. Could you find them that way?
Eat is such a person word. I am lightning itself. I am fire incarnate. I am destruction. It is simply what I do. Lightning strikes, fire burns. I eat.
And I'm a knife, so let me cut the hole and you reach through. And Oka has been wearing the chisel. Like on this silver thread from Jaran, they have literally, I think, never taken it off. Like it sits there, even without their soul on it anymore. It's there, it's on them, it's always on them. And they reach underneath their shirt and they pull it out. And I think their memory flashes back to being in Queen Moa's private dungeons, watching what we now know as Kilohana using the chisel to tear open reality. And it didn't go to the nothing plane, but it did go somewhere else. And Oka considers the chisel. And they look like kind of over their shoulder at the stage. And they take a deep breath and try to focus.
Let me guide your hand. Do not be scared of my power.
And you feel like lightning begin to like ripple off your shoulders and like down your arms and zap the chisel. And the chisel grows like red hot, like crimson hot in your hand, but it doesn't burn you. You feel its power quivering though. And Vinash says,
Fear is the enemy of power. Do it now.
I am not afraid. And Oka fucking just slashes across the air in front of them.
You try to lodge the tip of the chisel into the invisible weave all around you, and I think you miss, and then you try again and roll me Arcana.
Ooh, do I want to use my new dice? I'm gonna try.
Instant regret. Instant regret. What'd you get?
A natural one.
I love it. Here's what happens. You find a hook in the weave, a little window that the tip of this chisel latches onto, and it doesn't move in midair anymore. And Vinash just like roars in your ear, "Rip!"
Oka rips.
It is fucking hard, Oka. Like you're like squeezing the chisel and you begin to try to rip open a portal into the fucking nothing plane, right? Like, tell me how you're opening it into the nothing plane and not another place. Like, what are you channeling? What image are you drawing on? What's your focus?
Sitlali's blood. Because Oka's never been to the nothing plane, but they do know Sitlali, and they can feel literally the moment that they were fighting with Vinash while Vinash was sucking the life out of Sitlali, and they can smell her blood like in their nose, and it like almost recently spilled somehow, right? Like that it's there, and they're just kind of like frenetically attached to it, and that's the moment that they're hooking onto and pulling on, and sheer force of fucking will pulling the world apart.
Unlike Kilohana's just clear rip and tear through reality, yours is like chiseling through flesh made of ice. You're dragging it, and where you begin to create you see like the rip begin to form, and you see just like void oblivion peering through, and Vinash goes,
Yes! Keep going! Tear! Rip! Sunder!
as you try to like carve it down, and you see, unlike Kilohana, the air begins to bleed from where you rip it open, because you're like carving open a wound into the fabric of the weave, and you see just like golden blood dribble through the scar, this wound you're etching open, and it takes you like freaking like an entire minute of straining to open even like an inch of it open. But even as exhaustion begins to pump through your body, Vinash is like zapping your muscles, right? Like telling you to keep going, invigorating you with magical strength. And as you're straining, they're trying to get to Sitlali. Jaran and Gentle and Oka, in your different places all across the conference, you all see the light around you, because it's like mid-afternoon at this point, or like early afternoon, just dim. In one fell swoop, all the light is like sucked out of the Senate House. And people who are chittering and talking like suddenly grow quiet, and you're like murmuring like, what's going on? Like the light is completely gone, but it's almost like lights going down before a show. And Oka, maybe you're like distracted for like half a second, but Vinash goes,
No! Keep going! We're close!
And is like zapping you with more energy and like forcing your hand to go down. In the middle of this happening, we all see the stage light up. Or rather, the base of the stairs begin to light up with these spotlights coming out of nowhere, like boosh, 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 boosh. And we all hear Adam's voice echoing throughout the conference from everywhere and nowhere at once as like the show begins, right? And his voice just sort of goes, "Everyone, thank you so much for attending this conference, for hearing us out here in Dabithati. My name is Adam. I am the imago of the chrysalis, but I wasn't always." And then an illusion, a beautiful emerald illusion, like a statue carved out of green glass, like ribbons itself into existence at the base of the stairs, and we see Adam, like an illusory glass green form of Adam, right? And he sort of like stumbles up the stairs, you know, looking lost, right? It's like very like interpretive, like he's like, you know, like moving through the darkness and like holding his hands up and like looking and falling to his knees and crawling up the stairs and getting back up and continuing to go up. And Adam narrates as we see his story form. And as he does, we see the crowd begin to surge toward like the barricade, you know, like approach the stage. Everyone's excited for like the main presentation to begin. And Adam's voice rings out and says, "I, too, once was lost, shrouded in darkness, aimless, unsure of myself and my future. This was even before the cataclysm. I mean, how many of you can relate to this feeling of being directionless?" And there's like people like murmuring in the crowd. A few people hold up their hands, like people shout out like, "I have," like, "Yes, me," you know, like people shouting, responding to this presentation. And then this glass Adam like stumbles to a halt at one of the landing points of the stairs, maybe halfway up to the stage, and sort of like falls onto his hands and knees. And then the cataclysm happened. I thought I was already at my low point, but here I was, scraping the bottom of the barrel. I'm not proud to admit it, but I hit my lowest. And I know many of you out there have hit your lowest as well. Maybe you are at your lowest right now, but there is hope. I found the chrysalis. And then spotlights go all the way up the stairs to the stage where people gasp as we see like a illusion of like a big, I think, chrysalis. Like floating in the screens on either side of the stage, you know, like it's a literal fucking concert. But instead of being just like a kind of like a green metapod looking thing, it is a chrysalis that seems to be pure white. And it's just sort of like floating around. And there's like little like crenellations and crevices that maybe look like different segments of an actual chrysalis. But when you peer closer, you realize what the plates are. They're plates of wings. These are just wings folded in on themselves to form the vague shape of a chrysalis. White wings. And this glass Adam looks up at these like chrysalis images on the empty stage and pulls himself back up with like a sense of hope and begins to climb up the next flight of stairs. And we hear Adam's voice go, "The chrysalis was beautiful. It gave me hope. It brought me peace, freedom. Freedom from all this pain in my soul, freedom from the pain in the world around me, freedom from hurt, freedom from suffering." And the glass Adam crawls up onto the stage, right? And like stands in the center of the stage and turns around. And then like there's like a poof of like light and like an explosion of just like magic, and like wind whips around the stage. People gasp, you know, like boo, like little firework explosions go up, like flames scout up. And when like the stage clears and like mist, like fog, like pours down the stairs and onto the crowd, we see that the glass version of Adam has been replaced by the actual Adam, in that like shimmering, like bright emerald, like jacket, you know, the bright emerald pants, emerald suit, you know, like neck tie, like he's just like pulling his hands out and like gesturing at the crowd, and the crowd is like erupting into cheers. People are chanting his name, Adam, Adam, and like other people are chanting like chrysalis, chrysalis, you know, and he's just like, you know, like hyping them up a little bit, and he smiles and looks and waves, and he goes, "That's all the chrysalis wants, people of Dabithati. That's all we want, to soothe everyone's wounds, physical wounds, magical wounds, emotional wounds, spiritual wounds, wounds that the Eight wrought upon all of us when they abandoned us in the cataclysm." And everyone like cheers again, and there's like a final explosion, right? And like some like lights go up, and you know, like there's like lasers and like a light, like a fucking light show is happening here, right? It's like it's insane, right? And like he waits until the cheering dies down and he says, and that's why you're all here to see the first miracle of the chrysalis itself performed. And he gestures upward, and the weave begins to shift. And on that, we're gonna cut to break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Enjoy the BRB screen and various things on the break. Have fun. We'll be back in 10. We love you so much. What's gonna happen? See you in 10. Bijou, bijou.
Content warnings for this episode include fantasy violence, blood and bloodletting, body horror, gore, death and killing, apocalypse, trauma, complex and complicated relationships, romance and flirting, references to sexual entanglements, cults and cult-like behaviors, curses, compulsion, intrusive thoughts, eyes and staring, and death of loved ones.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Arc 5, Episode 7 of Transplanar RPG, The Second Stranger. Before we hop right back into things, what a cliffhanger, am I right? A reminder of content warnings and safety tools. So, content warnings for this episode and our campaign in general may include fantasy violence, blood and bloodletting, body horror, gore, death and killing, apocalypse, trauma, complex and complicated relationships, romance, kissing, references to sexual entanglements, cult and cult-like behaviors, curses, compulsion, intrusive thoughts, and death of loved ones. So, use !CW in chat for a full list of content warnings and !safety for a look at the cast's lines and veils. And with that out of the way, let's get started. Adam. Radiant under stage lights, pale skin shining with a thin sheen of sweat. His lips slashed open in an anticipatory grin. Flings his arms wide. The air above him shimmers, vibrates, tightens. His jacket glimmers like an emerald shot through with starlight. And the crowd at the bottom of the stairs about 50 feet away is going rabid, screaming and chanting, pressing their bodies against the barricade, spittle flying through the air in rapturous praise and anticipation. And then, ripping open the weave above Adam's head, all of you see a horizontal line of darkness. A void black sneer leering through the fabric of reality, oozing a black miasma of empty nothingness into the now. And Sitlali, inside the nothing plane, wrapped up in crystals of black glass, you see a dazzling line of light rip open in front of you. And you feel the weave again. Dulled, of course, beyond Suraksha's protection, but there. The strings tense and frayed and tremulous, but there. And you hear a crack as old Mama Lightning punches her hands up and causes a wall of spiky black glass to form and separate the two of you. And there's a shattering noise, actually, as your half of the orb kind of like breaks off from old Mama Lightning. So she sort of turns to you and muffled voice through the void and through the black glass says, "Stay inside the glass. He wants me. I'm not putting you in danger, something." And then you feel your orb and old Mama Lightning's orb also begin to drift toward that sun-bright portal, the radiant tear into the now. And right before you're sucked through, Sitlali, your eye catches another point of light off to your left or right, or there's no sense of direction in this space, right? And you see it. A second portal, much, much smaller than this one, a freckle in comparison to this gash tearing itself open in the empty. You glimpse Oka's face, suspended in the inky nothingness, their sapphire eyes sparking with red lightning. And Sitlali, that's the last thing you see before you're dragged through this huge portal and into the now. And back on the stage, Adam flourishes his wrists like a conductor, and all of you see two large, rugged kind of spheres of black crystal, black glass, float out of this black rift and onto the stage on either side of Adam. And you see the darkened silhouette of Sitlali in one sphere, and the darkened silhouette of Old Mama Lightning in the other sphere on opposite directions of each other. And you also hear the crowd screaming, shrieking, losing their collective shit as this is happening. They think it's part of the show. They're excited for whatever's gonna happen next. They're anticipating it. They're chanting. They're pumping their fists through the air. And you all see Adam, arms splayed open like Andake's savior, smiling down at the shouting masses. And then he says, his voice projected loud magically for all to hear, "Let the miracle begin." Roll initiative.
23.
Okay, Jaran gets a 23.
These Oka dice are no longer my friends. I rolled a natural 1. +4. 5 total.
24 for me.
Ooh, 24 for Gentle. What about Sitlali?
23.
Okay. I like that it's a 24, 23, 23, 1. So, Gentle, you are gonna go first. You see all of this that I just described happen, but I think you're like in the mix of the main crowd up against the barricade at the bottom of the stairs, right? Because that's where we left you last. And Mercy is right next to you, and she sees like these two orbs come out, like, and she sees like the dark form of Sitlali suspended in one, and you just see her face set, right? And she turns to you and she says, "Gentle, that's her. We have to go now."
Yeah. I have an idea then. So the plan is I'm going to use Fog Clown, or not Fog Clown, Fog Cloud.
A foggy clown.
I'm going to use Fog Cloud on like center of the area we're in, and then just do my best to lift Mercy up, and just try to get us up and over everything.
Yeah, I think this entire time during like Adam's display, right, there's a lot of fog rolling down from the stage, and I think the fog and the mist just sort of congeals and thickens around you as you cast this spell. Why don't you describe to us like how the spell works?
I think Gentle's hands are honestly like the medium in which any sort of magic-y things they do tend to glow from, but their hands begin to glow with a little bit of like gray, symbolizing like the fog, and it begins to get denser. I think their hands also begin to like darken as well as this cloud becomes like more and more like corporeal, I guess. And yeah, no, just like from where we sit, it just envelops everything around us. And I just like reach out for like Mercy. Is this is you, right?
What? Is that you, Gentle?
Yeah. I'm
doing
gonna
this?
try to fly. Yeah, yes. I know a little magic, like a little, not a lot. But I'm gonna try to fly, so I need you to do your best to not make this harder for me.
That's fine. Just get us to that stage. Get us to Sitlali now, please. And you feel like Mercy's hands like grope for you, and she like grabs awkwardly onto an ankle and then onto like a bicep. She like doesn't know where you are.
That'll get the job done. What do I have to roll to lift Mercy?
Give me an athletics check, my friend.
Oh boy.
She's muscle. She got muscle.
16.
Takes you a minute to get started. So I think you're struggling to get out of the crush of people around you, and also to lift Mercy's like sheer muscular heft like off of the ground. It takes you a minute, right? Like a plane that's like struggling to take off a bit, and you float a little bit up. Like there's other grabbing hands. People around you are shouting. They think it's part of the show, right? They're like shouting and screaming. They're excited about the fog that's thickening, and eventually you like break free, I think, of like this sea of people around you, and you like crest up into the mist. So you're trying to head right for the stage.
Yeah. I think also just due to the shouting, Gentle is probably like breathing a little bit panicked, just because too much noise.
I think you feel like Mercy's like hand kind of like tighten a little bit around your ankle that she's holding onto on one hand, but not in like a squeezing, like hurting your bones way, but almost in like a comforting way. She just goes like, hey. You got this, Gentle, okay?
Yeah. Anything to save Sitlali. We got this.
Yeah. Sitlali's counting on you. Our family needs you.
Aw. I think Gentle said all out loud.
Don't say aw at me again. Just go, okay? Just go, Gentle. You go. Will that make you faster? Just and you can hear Mercy like kicking at like the people on the ground to like help get you up more.
I will try to aim a little bit higher just so Mercy doesn't kick innocent people.
Yeah, she's like not caring who she's kicking. Like there's people screaming underneath her. And yeah, you like lift up no man, woman, or child spared. So what's your flying speed?
Same as my walking and swimming, 50.
Oh wow. Okay, that's enough to
I'm
get you
very
right.
fast.
That's enough to get you right up to like the top of the stairs, like at the edge of the stage. So like within like a couple of seconds, you break through this fog cloud cover that you've sort of caused to thicken like right at the bottom of the stairs, and you begin to fly and sweep up the marble stairs. And you see like as you get closer and closer to that rift, it's like approaching the eye of a storm, right? Like the weave is sort of whipping around you. There's like wind like whirling out of this like dark swirling vortex of that portal into the nothing plane. Adam is underneath it like it's fucking like conductor or preacher, arms still wide, like the two crystals are still floating down. They haven't touched down on the stage quite yet, but they're coming down. And Adam seems like preoccupied in keeping the rift open and also putting the two crystals down. And at the end of your turn, you appear right at the edge of that stage, right, with like Mercy sort of like, Sitlali, hey, we're coming for you, hey! Just sort of like swinging off of you, Gentle. And is that your turn?
Mercy, once again, please, I don't have the best grip on you, please. This isn't
Throw
helping.
me. Just, I can do it. I'll stick a landing.
Sure. And like, I just try to kick my legs, I guess.
Okay, I'm gonna say that you do a help action as she makes an acrobatics check. Ooh, she rolled a 19 base. So as you like kick your body at the end of your turn, Mercy sort of like flips through the air and like sticks like a dope landing, like, and I think she craters like the wood a little bit and causes Adam's head, like his like chiseled chin, to sort of snap down. And you notice that Adam's eyes are like glowing and sparking this kind of like black. Right? Like his scleras are completely filled with this like inky void blackness that you didn't notice until now, because now you can actually get a proper look at his face instead of the usual like black icy chips of blue that are his eyes usually. He looks down, sees like you and Mercy, who's just stuck a landing, and he, oh, you're a little late to the miracle, don't you think? I'm afraid it's almost here. And he begins to turn his wrists and like close them into a fist. And Gentle, you feel like the weave tighten from the void as he does that. Is that the end of your turn?
Yeah, I just sort of take a defensive position just for good measure.
Sounds good. Maybe landing or floating next to Mercy, right? Prepared to strike. And next is going to be Jaran.
Seeing the rift open up, because we're backstage, so I think we can have like a pretty good vantage point of everything that's going on the stage. And seeing the rift open up and like Sitlali and Old Mama Lightning coming down, I think Jaran will turn to Ravi and say, come on, there's Sitlali, we need to go get her.
Yes, and there's Old Mama Lightning, come on. As she like peels away from the pillar and begins like running like for that like awning, right? But first, Jaran, there are guards everywhere. Right, there's like a dozen guards here that were just like sort of milling about in the foyer. And they're sort of, when the miracle, quote unquote, began, they were standing kind of at attention in the foyer, watching from backstage, kind of slack-jawed. They look like, whoa, like they're totally taken by this. Like their eyes are glued to this rift, right? And you even see a few of them sort of fall to their knees in the shadow of Yudabathi's statue in rapture and begin to like pray to the chrysalis, right? Like holding their palms up or like bowing, right? Like in front of this like rift that's opened up and praying. So they're pretty distracted. But as the two of you are running, a couple of them like snap their gazes up and they go, hey, and they start to go for their weapons. But Ravi flicks out like her heavily tattooed muscular arm, right? And her hood falls back as she does this. And you see like this like ink black tattoo of that sort of coiled like a snake, like around one arm, just lift off of it as a massive thorny whip just like unravels from her hand as she grabs on to her own black blood and whips it outward. And just like in like a single like hit, in a single strike, like causes like 5 or 6 guys to go tumbling through the air. They smack against pillars and roll across the marble. She turns to you and she says, keep going, go! And she's like running after you as well.
Is Ravi following Jaran, like in the direction that Jaran is going?
You're going towards Sitlali, right? She's heading straight toward Old Mama Lightning, like breaking away from you.
Jaran is first going to try and grab Ravi's arm and like pull her. Like, no, like we need to go get Sitlali.
What are you talking about? There's 2 of us. You get your friend and I'll get Old Mama Lightning.
Ravi, come on, no. If Sitlali needs help, if anything happens to her, we can't have anything happen to her.
that's their girlfriend right there, isn't it? And like she gestures toward Mercy, who just has stuck like a dope, like crash landing, and like Gentle as well. You've got your friends. They can help you with her. I have to help Old Mama Lightning. If she dies, then Andake there's no end.
And if they die, Jaran is like gesturing to Sitlali. And if they die, then what about the rest of us? No Hound left behind.
All of your friends are here. Just let me take care of Old Mama Lightning and you get Sitlali. And she like tries to like wrest her like wrist away from you and run toward Old Mama Lightning's crystal.
Jaran is gonna try and tackle her to the ground if she is running away.
That is a grapple check. So you're gonna have to use athletics against her athletics or acrobatics.
Damn it. Okay, 16.
Well, Ravi actually rolled a nat 1, which on this check. This die, I fucking hate that. What? Nothing but nat 1s. You tackle her to the ground. And I think the two of you like tumble over the hard marble, and this is all happening in the shade of Yudabathi's statue, right? The three heads looking impassively down as the two of you are like tussling, right? And like the guards are like, oh, like groaning, trying to pick themselves up around you. What has gotten into you, Jaran?
We can't do anything for Old Mama Lightning. It's Sitlali we need to worry about.
What are you talking about? She's right there, and Sitlali's right there too. There's two of us, and two more of your allies on the stage. I don't understand. What's happening?
I can't let you save Old Mama Lightning.
What?
The only way that Oka lives is if Old Mama Lightning doesn't.
There's like a pause as she's like breathing underneath you as you've like pinned her down, right? You've like got her in like a grapple pose. You spoke to him, didn't you? You spoke to that blonde snake.
He showed me a different future, one that we could have.
No, he manipulated you, Jaran. That's what I was saying earlier. That's what they do. They manipulate people. I saw it happen with every single miner in Ujval. I saw it happen to my friends. People are desperate for hope.
What about the gods? Are they not manipulating us? Are they not manipulating the Paragons to give up their lives?
The stranger stole the 8 from the sky, Jaran. The 8 are not your enemy here. They're our allies, and they need us.
Allies would not ask us to give up the people that we love most in the world.
Jaran, this is not the way. And you just hear like a massive groaning noise as you realize while you've been talking, Ravi has leashed her whip around one of the arms of Yudabathi, the statue, and is pulling it down on the two of you. Like the statue begins to like fall like toward you, like the chrysalis sash is like flapping. And maybe like while you're stricken, I'm just gonna have Ravi make a quick check. Noise. She scrambles out from underneath you and like starts to like break, like using this as a distraction to like loosen your grip and head toward Old Mama Lightning.
Jaran then is going to like roll out of the way of the statue as it's falling. While I grappled and like tackled Ravi, can I say that out of my bag, some of the things from my bag like fell out?
Sure.
Including the black vial
Okay.
of the empty monster from the Unmei fight from episode 1 of the Hounds.
Okay.
And I think after rolling away from the statue, seeing Ravi running away, Jaran doesn't know what else to do, and they I think like a bunch of different thoughts like flash into their head at once. They were able to imitate Adam's voice, and Adam can control the empty monsters for some reason. And so just a shot in the dark, they're gonna try and mimic Adam's voice to try and control. They like see the vial on the ground and they say, stop her. Don't let her get Old Mama Lightning. Trying to command the monster inside the vial.
Okay. Make a performance check.
13.
As the statue smashes into like half a dozen pieces, like against the marble floor, chunks of stone flying everywhere, like bits of like emerald dust, like pluming through the air. The vial that's scattered out of your pack as like Ravi, you see her back, like running, like she's booking it, like toward Old Mama Lightning. The vial explodes. And tendrils of oil slick black, like pseudopods like web forward, almost like a sludge or like venom, you know, like across the ground, and like it propagates, it gets bigger, like it ribbons like a wider and wider and wider, much larger than this small vial would suggest, and it just sloughs onto Ravi's back right as Ravi like gets onto the stage, right? So like right on the stage, like I think like maybe like only 15 feet away from Old Mama Lightning's crystal, Ravi is tackled to the ground by this massive like moving shadow that's like stuck her onto the ground, and it's just like covering her like a blanket as she hits the wood. What the? She's like using her, like I think like a shadow spear like punches out of her like the top of her fist, and she's like punching at it, you know, but like the more she punches, the more she struggles, like quicksand. It's sort of like clinging onto her limbs. She's like, oh, what the? Jaran!
And Jaran doesn't respond.
You just like stand in the shadows, like you don't even go towards Sitlali.
I think that Jaran like has like scrambled up, is like watching this happen, and just like walking backwards towards Sitlali.
What the? How you? Jaran, this is not the way! Come back here! Get this thing off me!
No response. They're just gonna turn and go for Sitlali.
Jaran! Ravi's like shouting as you turn and book it toward Sitlali, the crumbled statue hidden in the ruins of the shadows behind you. Okay, so with that, next up on the docket is gonna be Sitlali.
So we're back.
Yes. Yes, you're back in the now, you're inside an orb of black glass.
Cool. Can I feel the weave from inside here?
Through like a filter, like you're literally like Saraksha's protection is forming like a kind of a thickish barrier between you and being able to access the weave, but it's there, you can feel it.
Okay, so I think the sudden shift from nothing to everything is a lot, and then I think they are just kind of hit with like the realization of the everything that has just happened in the last who knows how fucking long, because time is weird, so they don't know what day it is. But they saw Oka, and they can fucking see Adam.
Yes.
So I think Sitlali just kind of like tightens their grip around the raven feather in her hand, and just in the most scathing way that raven speech can get, says, "Wilt," and casts harm, so he has to make a constitution saving throw.
Okay, he just misses it, so why don't you deal damage?
Okay, that's 14d6 necrotic. So give me a second.
14?
14?
14?
Regrettably, it cannot reduce his HP below 1, but since he failed the save, his HP max is reduced for an hour by the amount of damage he's about to take.
For an hour, got it. Why don't you roll? That's 60 total. Okay, what does it look like?
I think it almost looks like dark purple lightning in like an extreme, like the most aggressive casting Sitlali has ever done in their fucking life. The amount of like fucking disdain and rage that they feel towards this fucking man from 2017 Tumblr. Like, just so much hatred just bolts out of them, like, and just kind of like almost, I want to say, like reverberates through like Saraksha.
Yeah, what does it look like on Adam?
I think it looks like he gets bit a little bit on the mouth.
Yeah. Okay, we see these like wilted kind of black bite marks just appear on his mouth, and he lets out a and he staggers a little bit as his arms are like splayed wide, right? And like sweat, I think, just trickles like down his temple. He goes, "What?" And he turns, and I think he sees you, and you see that like inky black void gaze with like, I think veins of black are sort of like popping out on the sides of his eyes, you know what I mean? And like going down like his throat as he's doing something. He's not quite done yet. He looks at you, and he like lowers a hand to his mouth and touches it and pulls it away and sees like this like kind of dark red blood that's appeared like on his mouth, and You little insolent thing.
Or you can call me Sitlali because that's my fucking name.
No matter. None of this matters. You'll see. All of you will see the miracle of the chrysalis I am about to perform today. And he like straightens himself back up, even though you've dealt him an incredible amount of damage, and he continues doing whatever he's doing in the middle of. So Sitlali, the raven feather in your grip had like burned kind of hot, you know, with like the casting of this magic, and now it's like the edges have fluttered and settled back down in your hand. But man, did it feel good to do that. Is that the end of your turn, or are you doing anything else?
I think that's the end of my turn. I think, yeah, that's a lot.
Definitely. I think you hear Mercy's voice. She's sort of like upstage, right? Or downstage? What's the correct term? She's on the edge of the stage, close to the audience.
She's downstage, love.
Thank you. Mercy is downstage, right center. As she's like landed there, she looks up, right? She sees like Adam like let out a cry of pain and then straighten back up, and she locks eyes with you. Like her eyes land on you, like in the crystal, and she just lets out a Sitlali, and she's gonna pick herself up and start like going right toward you without like caring about anything else that's happening on this stage, any of this chaos.
I think Sitlali, like, there's a lot happening, and I think that they just like put one hand against the glass, but they're still like, I think they're panting. I think that spell took a lot out of her, so like they kind of lean there half for support and half for like, that's my girlfriend.
I love that. Yeah, Mercy starts booking it across the stage, but her eyes also land on Ravi, who's like kind of like toward the back of the stage, like pinned underneath this like black sludge. She's visible now, and Mercy just lets out a "what, Ravi?" and like sort of stalls in the middle and seems torn, right? Like between Ravi, her oldest friend and her first lover, and you, Sitlali, her second. There's like a moment of hesitation there, right? And Ravi's she's shouting and punching the thing. You know, she's like fighting like underneath the sludge thing. And on that, we are gonna cut over to Oka.
Nat 1 initiative, baby. Oka's still on the balcony. And this like god power is thrumming through them as they are forcing this chisel through reality, right? Tearing it open with their hands. Literally, I think like even just like use one of their hands also to start prying it open and like forcing themselves like in and through, only to see Sitlali get sucked out somewhere that feels so close and so far away. And there's this moment that they like just get consumed with rage because they were so close, and they reach after them, and then their wings come out of their back, tear out in these big, huge red lightning bolts of wings like out of their back as Vinosh just kind of like punches up into the front of their soul, and Oka pulls themselves through because they can see the tear that Sitlali just went through, and they are going to use all of their energy, the most massive. It's inertia, baby. We're going through. And I can see Adam on the other fucking side with his back to me. And I'm gonna stab him in his fucking back. That's where we're going. We're going through. We're going through.
Oh my god. Have inspiration for that. What the fuck? Actual fuck. I'm gonna need some sort of check for that to see what the consequences are. Make me a Constitution saving throw.
29.
What? A 29?
That might be the highest I've ever rolled in this campaign. I'm not sure though. I think I've rolled a 29 before, but a 29.
Vinosh rips through you, like through your shoulder blades, like lightning bolts, pure crimson wings unfurling like a thundercloud, and you dive through that portal that you ripped open, dripping golden blood with your chisel, and you fly through the nothing plane. And a little bit bigger, it just widens and bleeds more empty presence into the completely empty. That's going to be the end of the round. Just pure oblivion crushing in at you from every side. It's darker than black. This is space between space. This is thought before thought. This is the nothing, the empty before and after life and death itself. This is the lack between reality. This is not even energy, it's absence. It's abscess. And as you cut through it like a little like glowing bolt of rage and fury and determination and the godlike anger. You see opening in the empty around you crimson eyes as your presence, I think, is noted as you slice through it. And you see these like swiveling pupils of all different shapes and sizes, like squares and rectangles and like circles and slits and starbursts and like crescents and whatnot, just all open and swivel around to like look through this space and latch onto you. And you feel like a not heat begin to vibrate around you as you're like plowing through like the nothing plane. But before the heat can latch onto the edges of your presence, you're out of there. You cut through that massive wide gap that Adam had ripped, and all of us see Oka tumble through it back into the now. And Oka, I think that was most of your movement, let's say. What do you do?
I'll take that as my movement. What do you mean what I do? I'm stuck. Oka, it's like you were like, okay. There's this tear of nothing, right? And then all of a sudden, Oka comes out of it like a vengeful fucking angel. And they are like all of that inertia through the nothing plane that drove them through the empty. They're just going for Adam's back, like tackling him to the ground, like an animal pouncing on him, like the god of rage coming to fucking smite this man.
Are you using Dream Hunter or are you just punching him?
I don't think I could have drawn anything. I think I am going to use my bonus action to get Culling Edge out though, because that is technically on my body. So Oka, right into his back.
Make an attack roll.
26 to hit.
That will not hit. So do you either want to miss or deal damage and he gets a reaction?
Deal damage and he'll get a reaction.
All right, deal damage.
Yikes. Okay. Wow, I didn't actually think I'd get this far. Here we go. 32 as Oka, 32 points of damage as Oka just like punts into his back and just with all the power that they have and all the rage that they're holding in their body.
You descend from the rift like you said, like a fucking avenging angel, and you like he doesn't even like turn around. You're just on him, and Culling Edge goes right through his back. You punch through him, and we all see from the front. And we see like the spike of like Oka's like Culling Edge just cut through his sternum and just appeared like a burst of like dark red blood. And he like sort of staggers forward. Are you also trying to pummel him to the ground?
I am, yeah.
Okay, make a grapple check. That's gonna be athletics against either his athletics or dex.
18.
Yeah, you grapple him to the ground. He goes down, and you're on top of him, right? Like with your Culling Edge punch through his chest, and he's sort of like on all fours, and you're like grappling him, like wrestling him from behind. He lets out a. It appears all of your friends are here, and he's still addressing Sitlali as he's talking.
Oka like grabs they're on top of him from the back, so they grab the back of his head and like force him to look at the ground. Don't fucking talk to them.
You're too late, Paragon of Sen. The miracle has already begun, and once it's begun, it cannot end. Is this all you've got? And his hand sort of goes toward the Culling Edge punch through his chest, and he pushes it back through, right? And I need you to make a strength contest.
13 isn't gonna do much for me.
I got a natural 20. So Adam is gonna grab on, your blade cuts into his palm and makes him bleed, but he's just laughing as he does, as his own blood drips down his forearm, and he shoves Culling Edge back through his sternum, and you feel like your hand's quivering as you're trying to keep it there, right? But he pushes, like with a single hand, just like pushes it back through his chest. The chrysalis shines down on me. Oka, it's going to take a lot more than just a tiny little dagger to end this.
I think Oka got drawn toward him as he pulled their blade into his body again. Good. Then I'm gonna fucking enjoy this. And they're gonna lean their head back and try to fucking headbutt him since they're right there.
Yeah, I think you do. Like, you headbutt him and he just like, it's like your head's like bouncing off concrete. You know, you're not gonna take damage, but it's like you're grappling with him, maybe you're punching him, you're shoving him, you're headbutting him, you're trying to get him down, but he's like slowly but surely rising up off of the ground like a fucking like marble statue that just no matter what you do, you can't get him to get back down, right? And you're like, you're like on him from behind, like he's like, I think blood is trickling out of his mouth from being punched through the chest by you know, but he's like slowly straightening himself back up. Is that the end of your turn?
That is the end of my turn, yep.
Okay, so at the end of this round, all of you feel the weave shiver, originating from like the void scar torn into reality above Adam's head. The weave trembles, almost like it's scared. And Oka, you hear Vinash's voice spark up inside you, and red sparks of lightning just like ricochet off of your skin, and hear a voice go, "It's coming. It's coming. We have to hurry. We have to hurry now. Suraksha! Thristi! My Paragon!" Sitlali, you hear Suraksha's voice from within the orb that you're in, like ringing through the crystal, just like a clear, like a singing bowl being like tinged on the side by a single like baton. Suraksha's voice goes, "Child, I'm afraid the end is near. I will do what I can to protect you, but if I must, I will return to my Paragon."
Do it
It's
now.
coming.
Go back to your Paragon. Protect your Paragon.
And you also hear old Mama Lightning's voice cut in, like she can like talk to you through Suraksha, like, "No! Something, I can't, Thristi and Suraksha are so scared inside me, but you, damn it, why do I have to be noble right at the end? No, I'm keeping Suraksha on you, this is wrong, and you can feel like old Mama Lightning is like, similar to Uka, can feel whatever's about to come, like, intimately in her soul, and is, like, piercing through her and causing her pain.
My name is Sitlali Thornheart, and this is not the day that you die. So take Suraksha and save yourself. For Andake.
So there really still are heroes in this world, huh? Fine. And just rhyming down around you, descending, this like crystal just unfurls, right? And it disappears, like it sinks past your feet, and you're no longer covered in this like miasma of Suraksha. You can see everything clearly now, right? And the crystal around Old Mama Lightning gets a little bit bigger, like more spikes come out as Old Mama Lightning can like route all of Suraksha's power into protecting herself. And the rift above Adam's head gets bigger.
Okay. A lot's happening. Do I see Oka fighting Adam?
Yeah, yes, everyone sees everything, I think, including Ravi.
Where's Jaran at?
Jaran is right now like headed towards Sitlali.
Okay. I think I keep track of everything, and Oka just saved my life last time we were fighting. I gotta look out for my best state. I'm running towards Oka, and I'm just gonna try to punch the shit out of Adam like 7 times.
Okay, make your attack rolls.
Let's see, that's 4 attack rolls. Hand of Harm is gonna be going off, of course.
Is there any way I can assist? Because whilst Adam is kind of getting up, if Oka sees Gentle coming at Adam, they're gonna try to hold Adam in place so Gentle could beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah, sure, why don't you have advantage on these attack rolls?
Okay.
I guess Adam is like effectively grappled, so.
Okay. Metal dice
I
are
hate
hard
how
to keep in
willing
your
you
hand.
are. It's terrifying that you're actually so willing to just let that happen. It's horrifying.
It's kind of horrid. Okay, so 17, 18, 28, nat 20.
The nat 20 hits, the rest do not. So,
I have a question about the 28.
yeah.
I would like to use focus aim. In exchange for using, I'm going to say 3 key points. I can up that AC or that attack by 6, so that goes to be a 34.
That would hit.
Good.
34 would hit. Okay, yeah. So 2 are guaranteed to hit. Do you also want to deal damage on the other 2, or do you want to take the misses?
I'm just gonna let those miss. 2 hits is fine.
Okay, sounds good. So let's deal with the non-natural 20 first. So roll damage as usual.
22 for the first hit.
Okay. And for the second hit, the natural 20, do you want to get like full damage guaranteed and roll dice again, or do you want to pick like a narrative boon of some sort?
Narrative boon, obviously.
All right, what are you trying to do?
Oka's trying to keep Adam down, right? I think I'm going to help. I imagine Gentle for some reason just like jumping, like running in and full force, full speed, both legs, just jaw drop kicking, like with full force to help just knock Adam down.
Yep, it happens. So why don't you just roll double damage as usual on the nat 20?
Do I roll the neurotic? Gosh, I'm doing great with words today. Do I roll the hand of harm twice as well?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, do it.
I don't like how free you're just like, have all the damage. Nothing suspicious here.
Max HP is reduced by 60 and you're unbothered, and I don't like that.
I'm tracking the reduction, yeah.
That's worse. You get how that's worse for us, right? 43.
43. Okay, sounds good. So you drop kick Adam, and as he was like almost like completely upright, with like Oka sort of clinging on his back, like trying to drag him down, like holding him tight for you, you drop kick that motherfucker, and he crumples, he goes down, right, like a sack of bricks. He just hits the ground again, and he's like back onto like all fours, right? And I think like you break his nose. Right, you like feel like crunch underneath your knee or your foot, and like when he looks back up, it's kind of crooked on his face. You know, there's like blood sort of like smearing his mouth and like staining his teeth just crimson. And he smiles up at you, Gentle, as you're like standing over there, like maybe panting a little bit from like all this flurry of blows. And he says, "Really, heroes of Andake, allies of the Paragons, this is all you've got?"
No.
Do you do anything? Do you do something else?
Nope.
Wait, I love that, Gentle. I have inspiration for that response. That was adorable. Okay. Despite his words, though, Adam looks pretty fucked up. Like, he's got that bite mark on his mouth. He's like, his face is broken. He's got like a huge crimson wound just flowering open on his like, you know, like white dress shirt, you know, like underneath his like emerald tie. And on that, I think we are going to pan over to Jaran. At the top of your turn, I mean, obviously the crystal has come down from Sitlali, right? And so you see Sitlali, they're right there. But at the top of your turn, you notice Ravi. She has finally like cut away a like significant piece of this like empty beast, this like creature that's like slothed on top of her. She's like slashes off like a not even a tentacle. There's just like sloughing fingers of darkness. She cuts one off and like gets enough of the pieces sloughing off of her, like she's fighting like sentient goo, to be able to pull herself up, and she's booking it toward old Mama Lightning. What do you do?
I think Jaran is like, as they're running towards Sitlali, they're constantly like turning their head to like check on Ravi, and at the point at which they see her kind of like break free, they have this moment of hesitation because they can see Sitlali, they are right in front of him, and he could just grab them and go, but I think he decides that his friends have this. He needs to stop Ravi, and so he like skids to a halt, turns to go after Ravi, and as they're doing that, they're going to once again, in Adam's voice, command the monster, restrain her. Don't let her get closer to old Mama Lightning.
Are you trying to hide the fact that you're doing this to your friends, or are you just doing it?
I think Jaran is so panicked in this moment that no, they're not trying to hide it.
All of you hear Adam's voice like echo out, but Oka and Gentle, Adam's mouth isn't moving. right? Like when he's still laughing, right? Like blood's dribbling down his throat as you hear this command ring out. And the monster, the slime monster, picks itself back up and begins like sloughing its way over to Ravi and like wraps like a shadowy tendril around Ravi's calf and like roots her to the spot. She goes, she's like grabbing like at her foot, and the rest of it begins like sloughing up her body as well. And there's like a moment for like each of you to chime in and say something as this is occurring, I think, as Adam's just laughing and laughing in your grip, Oka and Gentle.
I think Oka, when they heard that command, they had like lifted Adam's head to like tell him to shut up again, right? And like, you know, like attack him more. They realized that he didn't say it, so they like whip around, like thinking, is this man a visage? Is this just a thing made of goo because he doesn't seem to die, right? Like that's happened before. And they turn around to like find, and they like, I think there are like some moments where their like eyes are like tracking Jaran, but they don't understand. They just kind of like go still for a moment.
Jaran, why are you doing that voice?
I think Jaran's head like flips to Gentle as he hears them say that. And you can see this like absolute look of like terror on their face as they realize that you heard what he said, and that presumably then that means that everybody else also heard. And I think for a moment their eyes go to Oka, and you can see them like make a decision. It's very clear on their face that they like make a decision in that moment. They look back at you, Gentle. They shake their head, and then they run to basically block Ravi's path so that if Ravi tries to break free again, Jaran is going to be in between Ravi and Old Mama Lightning, and he is unsheathing Kane's dagger. Ravi, please stop fighting.
I don't know what lies they fed you. I don't know what kind of manipulation is wrapping around. You are out of your right mind, kid. You're on the wrong side.
I am on your side. I just wish you would see that. You care about Oka, right? So do I. I'm doing this for them.
Obviously. And I think like some of this like black pudding like material like lassos upward and like grabs onto Ravi's wrist as she like pulls it up to like punch Jaran and like pulls her back.
Oka, I think they just like shove up and off Adam, right? Like they just kind of like drop him, right? And they like are starting to like shift upward now. Jaran, what are you doing? Get Old Mama Lightning. We need to go.
Jaran like looks over at Oka. No, we need to get Sitlali and go. Grab them and go.
We have Sitlali. And Oka like turns, checks, sees Sitlali, and there's this like intensity to their expression, I think, when they look at you. What are you doing?
Oka, I'm protecting you like I said that I would. Please, take Sitlali and leave.
I'm not leaving without her.
Get out of here, Sitlali, please!
As your second, I'm telling you to stand the fuck down.
Fuck being my second. Get out of here, now.
Interrupting all of this, Ravi lets out another as like more like this creature seems to be voracious. It's now like glomming onto her, and you see like the form of this creature begins to like sort of turn spiky. Like you see like these like black spikes beginning to like rime off of Ravi's body as she's covered in this thing. Jaran, call this thing off! Are you in control of it? Call it off!
Jaran! And Oka starts going for Ravi, I think.
And on Jaran...
Jaran is going to get in the way. Jaran is stopping Oka from getting to Ravi.
Make a contested acrobatics check.
I rolled a nat 1.
Oh my god, I did not think I would win that! I did not think I would win that!
I have a plus 14 to my acrobatics, and I rolled a nat 1!
I rolled a 24.
Oka, how do you slip past Jaran to get to Ravi?
I fly over his fucking head. That is one of the many ways that when they're sparring, when Oka wants to win, that's how they win. is that they have an advantage in the air, and their wings are out. I think they actually like bump against Jaran though. Like they're not expecting them to be there. And then they like shove past it, like up and kind of like launch themselves like up and over, like almost like going like over a wall, like cool anime characters do. And they're like brandishing Dream Hunter like at this monster now, I think.
Yeah, I think while this is happening, Mercy's also booking it to Ravi. She's just sort of shouting like, listen to your second, Jaran, stand down, that's Ravi we're talking about. And she's like booking it like alongside Oka. And when you like skate over Jaran and you land in front of Ravi, you see this thing is going wild. It's like spiking out with these black, like sharp black spikes, and you see one punch up near Ravi's face and like leave like open up a blood red wound. Oka, this thing, the more I cut it off, the more it grows. Get this thing off me.
And I think in that moment, seeing that Oka has made it past him, seeing Mercy coming for Ravi, I think Jaran panics. And he slips into Adam's voice without meaning to. He meant to speak to Mercy and to Oka, but accidentally goes into Adam's voice and says, "Stop! She has to die."
I'm gonna give you inspiration for that. Because what happens next is Ravi's eyes widen as she hears that, and she realizes what's happened. And then she just sort of, like, the spiky mass around her just sort of contracts a little bit, like, just pulsates, almost like gently, and she just goes, and just, like, blood just, like, spills out from her mouth. As we, like, we realize what's happened is, like, Oka, as your eyes, like, go down and, like, look at the rest of Ravi's body covered in this thing, like, it's shot spikes through every part of her body inside, like, just impaled her, right, from all sides. Oka. And you see the light fade from Ravi's eyes as she goes slump.
Ravi.
No, I meant the Paragon. I meant old Mama Lightning. No. And then in Adam's voice, bring her back. Bring her back. Bring her back.
This thing just sort of sloughs off of Ravi's form in response to your voice. And Oka, you just see like Ravi's body riddled in just like puncture wounds all over. Like just covered in her own blood. And she just sort of like falls to her knees. I think slumps onto the, like, you catch her, I assume, right? Yep. Yeah. She slumps over it into your arms.
At the same moment, these like red lightning wings, almost like they turn to glass and fall to the ground. And there's this like noise like bells as all of them just kind of like shatter against the ground as Oka just loses all of their concentration. And they catch Ravi, and there's like their blood starts flowing, like they are putting their hand on all of the wounds, trying to close them up. Rev? This is not her. She's and Oka looks around, realizes Rev's not there, and they take the chisel. Ravi, you're gonna be okay. Right? Right, you're fine. Right? She's fine, right? And Oka looks at Jaran. She's fine. You didn't mean that. You're fine. Ravi, you're fine. You're a blood hunter. It's fine. Ravi?
Mercy shoves Jaran roughly out of the way and like runs over to where you are, and she also like falls to her knees in front of old Mama Lightning's like crystal, right behind Adam, just like Ravi's blood just pooling out and spilling out from around her. Ravi's eyes are still sort of open and they're sort of just gazing emptily upward and outward, like lifelessly. And Mercy's just like, no. And like her hands like go over like Ravi's like blood covered body. Oka, her soul, Oka.
And Oka sinks the chisel into her chest. Like they had it and they were ready and they just shove it in.
Make an Arcana check for me.
Can I with Spare the Dying, help drag the soul back down while Oka does this? Can I hold it in place for a second?
Yeah, do you rush over? What's the range on that?
For Grave Clerics, it's 60 feet. So I just kind of watch this. Don't even register Jaran, where that's a problem for later. And just kind of put a hand out and say, in the Raven speech, just say stop and try to grab whatever I can feel.
Yeah, you fling out a hand and the weave seems to warp around you in a straight line toward where Vravi's body is, and for a half second you think you see her soul glimmer into existence. Just only you can see this rolling red energy that is starting to dissipate into nothingness. Because there's nowhere for it to go. But you're able to just, hold it there for a split second, enough time for Oka to plunge the chisel into Ravi's body, and, the soul gets, sucked back down toward the length of the chisel and wraps itself around the golden metal. And all of you see, this, crimson light, glittering around the length of this chisel as Ravi's soul has been successfully captured and, held here by the chisel. Did you do it? Is that her? Is that Ravi? Is that her soul?
Fuck. And Oka holds the chisel in both of their hands like it's a prayer or like it's a god. And they kind of just fold their fingers in and hold it against their chest.
I think there's a pause as all of you just take in what the fuck just happened. And amidst this chaos, Adam, who has been left to his own devices, straightens up completely. He stands, he pulls himself to his full height, right? And he sort of cracks his neck in either direction, sort of wipes some of the blood off his chin, and says, "The miracle is here." And all of you feel the weave around the void just snap and break. Similar to how it felt during the Cataclysm, when you felt the strings of the weave just snap. As coming out of the rip above all of your heads, you see, at first you think they're white fingers, and then you realize what they are. They're the fluttering tips of white feathers, as the chrysalis drags itself slowly into the now. And we're gonna end the session there. And that's been Arc 5, Episode 7, everybody. So yay! Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Connie. I'm the GM and a creative producer. My pronouns are they, he, and she. You can find me on TikTok, Twitter, and Ko-Fi, where you can toss a coin to your Connie at by Connie Chong. That's BYCONNIECHANG. That was incredible and chaotic. I'm going to pass along introductions up to Quinn.
Hi, hello, I'm Quinn at Quintastic_ on Twitter. My pronouns are they, she. I do things that I can normally remember, but the Twitter knows better than I do half the time what I'm doing. I've been your resident grave cleric for the evening, Zalali, who has a surname now, surprise. I'm gonna pass things along to Dare.
Hi, I'm Dare. Wow, I am brains bad. I don't even know my pronouns anymore. She, they pronouns. Thank you all. If you want to find me, you can find me on all parts of the internet at Dare to Dream, DARE, the number 2, DREAM, RPG. I'm just gay online too much. It's a problem. I got to do a drop kick today, and that's really all I needed. So life's pretty good. I'm going to throw it over to Humna now.
Hello, everyone. My name's Humna. I use any and all pronouns, and I'm a TTRPG performer. You can find me on Twitter at @shahid_, where I talk about all of the different projects I'm a part of. I was a problem today. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry to everyone.
Let's debate whether or not Jaran Cotter deserves rights. Does Jaran Cotter deserve rights? The jury have spoken. Well, Adam would vote yes. Adam would be very happy.
I'm especially sorry to see who I will pass it along to now.
Right. Yeah, we'll see how that I'm gonna make so many moody playlists about this. My God. Hi everyone. My name is C. Your resident sexy problem. But in like an angel way. I don't know. Okay. Ooh, that's so much. Hi. You can find me making very trans, very gay art on the internet at Pi Sharp Art. I do lots of other things as well. I'm in a variety of you know. Yeah, my brain also not working anymore. So I was like acting, and now I'm like Twitter. So go follow me on the Twitter, I guess. Connie, you can rate us out, darling.
Yes.
How dare you do
my
this
God.
to me?
Well, that was a lot of fun for me. So we're going to be rating someone really awesome, I'm sure. So just use a raid message in chat. Tell them Transplanar sent you. Toss them a follow if you fuck with their shit. Even if you can't stay around, just say, hey, Transplanar sent me. I have to pop out. Just let them know that you're part of the Transplanar train. We love you so much. We will see you next Saturday for a continuation of the Kirtal arc. What hijinks are they going to get themselves out of with Kirtal? We'll take a look. Because, it's going to be Kirtal's. They're also going to be facing off against a huge monster. So that's going to be exciting. So tune in next week for that. Different kind of huge monster. We'll see. Bye-bye. We love you. See you next week, 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time on Saturdays. And Spisho.